any case. Wait, one moment. I'm still getting bothered by the Discord. Let me mute it so I am not being distracted by it. Otherwise, I will get distracted by it. I don't want to be distracted by it. Not tonight.
Oh, I did not mean to press
All right. This is, for those that weren't aware, session 19.
Yay.
Yay.
So I've not updated my character sheet in Roll20 based off of the recent experience. I'm the dumb.
Oh, I did see
Bad.
that.
Also, have you updated the experience tracker in the Discord thread?
I
Sure, y'all
have
just got more experience.
I got it yesterday, but I didn't get today's update for Ashley, so I can do that now.
Okay. Fair enough, fair enough. Let me grab a drink.
I didn't know you
Which that
updated.
Ashley and Olivia are now tied again.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how. Stop it.
What?
Stop adding my experience. I don't need it.
Yes, you do.
I got what I wanted. I'm good.
But there's so much more you could get. Especially if you were just fine with breaking a few taboos. Alrighty then. Well, before my throat dries out and I inevitably need more drink, let's get going. Previously on Seattle by Night. After the horrendous viewing of the insides of the Sabbat's lair, the coterie decides what to do, after momentarily being caught off guard by Olivia's sudden desire to see strippers. Fortunately, this will be quickly dismissed as Olivia being, well, Olivia. Discussion swiftly turns to what is to come, how dangerous or messy the things to follow to be. Alvin wants to be sure the others, especially Olivia and Ashley, are ready and willing to truly mix in with that. Alvin makes the call to Detective Jones, both giving him a heads up about the address of the Sabbat's lair and questions as to where the sheriff is and what warrants to potentially be ready. Now knowing that both the sheriff and Prince Woods are at Elysium renders the coterie's next stop rather clear. Arriving at Elysium, Olivia first because need for speed, the coterie enters, finding the establishment to have a far greater attendance tonight than on their previous visit. No fledgling sitting for licks tonight. Thalia is on stage, as per usual, and it feels like a noticeable portion of the city's Camarilla population, and even some anarchs, are present. There are ghouls and the unmistakable blood dolls present too, a proper evening at Elysium, one might say. Sidelong glances at the guarded VIP room readily indicate where their target of conversation is. Forced to wait outside until they can find a way in, Alvin is awaiting Thalia's break to speak with her. The coterie disperses, either for blood or for conversations, with the goal of reading the room before progressing. Ashley, still stalked by her wraithly watchdog, sought the safety of the familiar, those of her clan. In this case, that role would fall to one Sue Ellen. Not too long later, Alvin succeeds in catching Thalia Smith, the keeper of Elysium's, attention. The odd conversation she carries with him defies the fact that she is actively singing on stage at the same time. But in short order, the band on stage is left behind to play a set of instrumentals, while Thalia herself moves to let the coterie into the VIP room. The VIP room is quiet. Between the soundproofing and the audio system being disabled by choice, many of the most important figures of Seattle's Camarilla are gathered around the room, some by the old-fashioned overstuffed leather seating, and others around the very expensive-looking billiards table, which has a chalkboard and a corkboard rolled up next to it. Those around the billiards table appear to be both playing a game and having a very serious discussion at the same time. A discussion that's put on hold when you enter. The conversation that follows is somewhat lengthy, as to be expected, covering both what was seen, what was heard, as well as requests being made and praise given. From Alvin's request of custody for Halsey after the operation, provided she hasn't been rendered into a war ghoul or embraced as a shovelhead, to Olivia's request for the Tremere to move their arts and crafts into the open so that everyone can join in and be happy, and so she can make Regent Steel a present. And, of course, the prince himself praising Alvin while figuratively twisting a dagger in his child Adam Longwell's back at the same time. Arguably, the only truly disruptive moment would be Olivia calling Alvin on his harem building. It is declared the sheriff will call upon the coterie once the time is ready as a sort of temporary bully boys. Primarily after Donovan and the Nosferatu have finished their reconnaissance, and the Camarilla is ready to make its move. But for now, the coterie returns to the main room of Elysium, where Alvin is quick to praise both Ashley and Olivia. As the group disperses, Alvin continues to expand his primarily gay harem by calling one Thomas Reynolds, while also digging the knife deeper into Longwell's back. He tips off the fellow vampire that was once set up to be his rival in regard to the upcoming operation. Ashley and Pius hit the bar on Alvin's tab, while Olivia slides in to start mingling with a random group. Alvin is content to wait for the others to finish up or be ready to move on, but is not ready when Olivia returns to suggest building his harem, which brings Alvin to ask what this harem business is all about, wanting to know what that word even means. A conversation ensues between Ashley, Olivia, and Alvin regarding the latter's habitual collection of strays. With urgent matters largely taken care of, or at least stuck in the waiting phase until others do their part, the coterie turns its attention towards unwinding. Right now, it's fun time with the coterie, in Olivia's words. Chaperoning, in Alvin's. Whatever it is called, though, if Kane himself were tuning in, he might very well agree with the latter. The coterie swiftly makes its way to Flux. Even if they have an open invitation to Blue, the nearness of their potential screw-up, even if it wasn't really their fault, likely has an effect on their desire to go elsewhere. Or perhaps to just seek variety. Once there, Olivia pulls Ashley to the dance floor, and in short order, proves the reasonable need for Alvin's chaperoning by playtesting her abilities on the hapless mortals around her. Telepathy was fine, but for a moment, Olivia thought to use other gifts. Before, in a rare moment of lucidity, one of those other voices in this dream reminded her that causing random mortals to start stripping and beginning a spontaneous orgy in the middle of a club was probably a bad idea. The night draws to a close, the coterie separates, and there is only the wait for a chance to make their move. It would be a few nights before they got their eventual call, but that's not to say those nights would pass without incident. And that is our recap. Before we move on to the next phase, anyone want to remind me of things I've forgotten?
I don't think you did. At least not to what I know.
Good, good. I know Pius wasn't there last session, so I was trying to be thorough. Because lots of stuff happened. At least I think lots of stuff happened. Now we're going to move on to something I've written up just for this occasion. Probably will do so in future occasions similar to this one. Interludes during the time skip. Now I've gotten 2 of these for each of you, at least one of which should be something somewhat resembling something you gave to me, or at very least, even if somewhat loosely. The other one is, of course, entirely on me and whatever I came up with. Now, normally, we start these sessions going in order of your awakenings, which is always Alvin first because cheats, and then Olivia and Ashley because they're tied, and then on to Pius. However, since we're doing these interludes and they're happening just at some point during the days between the nights between then and now, it seemed a perfect opportunity to flip it on its head to allow other people to finally go first. Which means, Pius, congratulations, you get to be up front.
Oh,
Perfect. I'm gonna go serve lasagna while he starts. Be right back.
I love this.
I know.
I get to relax. Are you kidding me? Ah.
I was actually looking forward to this.
But I think I'll wait just a little bit for Anna to get back because I like her reactions too. I like all of your reactions. It's fun. Good fun stuff.
Oh no, please. Let's do this more often. I could kick back. Oh.
Keep in mind that while there are two interludes for each of you, they are not adjacent to each other. We'll go from Pius all the way down to Alvin, and then from Pius all the way down to Alvin again. That way, no one's waiting for too long. Hopefully,
Big thumbs up.
well, Alvin or Zeno, you only have yourself to blame. You take that merit.
Oh, I know. I do get it, but I also do try to make sure that whatever transpires first thing of Awakenings is short and sweet and to the point that I can help it. So
Yeah, I mean, like if we started our normal nights like with night already well underway and y'all already meeting up, that would probably eliminate that. But I like starting with y'all each awakening. I don't know. I've just gotten in the habit of writing it, and I
it's
realize it's
nifty.
somewhat inconvenient at times.
It is nifty.
Hmm. What's Alvin's actual humanity?
I think it's still pretty high, all things considered.
Like what, 7, 8?
Let's see. That is on. Where is that actually? Brain is forgetting.
It should be on the main page,
Is it?
just down below skills and disciplines.
7.
7, so standard human,
Yeah,
or at least in the range of standard human. Standard human's like 6 and 7, really.
yeah.
Technically, the top of 5 and the bottom of 8, but yeah.
Man, I got 15 points to spend. What the fuck do I do with that?
Sorry, session has already begun after I finished the
Oh
recap.
no, I'm not worried about that. I was just like, did not realize I accumulated that much
Well,
again.
good news. I doubt combat itself of any variety will start tonight. So now you'll have time to buy your pre-combat buys
All right.
between now and next session.
Yeah. Which means,
I want to try I want to try to get us close to the point where you're getting your call, or just after you get your call, ideally.
fair enough.
That way,
Yeah.
we're fresh and ready to start next session into the action or close to it.
You mean the tutorial?
No, the tutorial was when you fought the butcher.
Yes, but
Ages ago.
we also haven't done combat in forever.
In fairness, Vampire is a social and social challenges game, usually.
True.
Which is one of the reasons why I love it. You would love it if it just didn't have a D10 system.
Probably, I'm not gonna lie. I don't
I
know.
want to say the very, very first edition was actually D6, but it was very, very quickly swapped to D10.
Yeah, I don't know what it
Also,
is.
some guy made a D20 version of it back in like the early 2000s, but that went nowhere.
Then again, Andrew, it could also just be the fact that we're still on roll 20 and like even in Slay, like Derek's and I's D10 dice just could not do anything.
It could be the roller. You're right.
I would
But no
honestly
offense, I'm not switching this game to Foundry.
no, I get that, but like in terms of like the things that found or roll 20's been updating, it would kind of be nice if like they included different dice rollers.
Mm-hmm. Like different, like you mean like different dice rolling, like I guess computations or systems you can switch
Right.
between. Like,
Or a better randomizer. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe if you like, yeah, I get the feeling if you could switch between randomizers, like it could
I'll put
like
it this
clear
way.
any sort of seeming clogs, I guess, of bad
Uh,
luck.
I'll put it this way. You can still roll D20s and D100s, so on and so forth, in this system. So I don't think that things are necessarily always very well weighted, if that makes sense.
You mean roll? So you're talking about roll 20s, rollers still?
All right, I actually got to put brackets in this one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, now you want to roll high, fucker.
Well,
Just
we'll
to prove
see.
you wrong.
I mean, obviously, it's not important right now, so it doesn't have to worry about screwing you over.
Thank you.
My Pathfinder dice know to be cinematic. I got these D10s and this damn roller need to learn
Which is
that
odd
too.
because when you're DM and you're not trying to hit Chompy, you usually roll pretty decently.
Surprisingly, no. Actually, especially as of the last book, I don't think I've landed a hit on Chompy in a good minute.
Yeah, I said aside from trying to hit Chompy.
Oh my god, this lasagna's so good.
I'm going to murder you.
What did I miss?
He's bragging about how good this the lasagna tastes, knowing I'm sitting over here hungry and wanting it.
Oh, Jesus. I would send you some if I could.
I even made the sauce homemade.
You made the sauce homemade. I did the rest of it, so you can shush. I
Well,
made
It was a
let's
team
be
effort.
honest. Actually, layering the lasagna is harder than making the sauce. It's not to say making the sauce doesn't require effort, but on the scale of effort, you're definitely the minority of the wheel of effort.
Agreed.
On top of having to figure out how I was supposed to do this because I need a 9 by 13. We don't own a 9 by 13. We only own 9 by 9s. So I ended up
How
having to do
dare you?
a 9 by 9 and a loaf pan.
You're a fucking loaf pan.
All right. Where's the frying pan?
No.
Oh, I got a bunch of jars. That'll work.
All right, children, settle down.
He started it.
Yeah, he did. We were all here for it, but settle down.
No. Steph, are you muted?
She is.
Yes, I muted myself. I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. Just checking on you.
All right. Well, anything I want to need to go get anything else before we start up with Pius's first interlude?
Nope.
Excellent. In that case, let's get us to where we're going. Boop. Pius, you spent a lot more time down here in the sewers than you have for most of the last week and change. The time with family hasn't really changed, as Donovan keeps them and the others quite busy. This is the clan's time to pull their weight for the city, after all. Not so much you, though. Perhaps it's because you were part of the coterie that found needed information. Even if in your own thoughts, that was all Olivia and Ashley. Or perhaps because Lynette claimed need of your time. Though that's not for another night or so. It's not to say the warrens are empty, not by any means, whether it's because they do their contributions from here, like Oscar, because apparently this internet thing is useful, or because they're taking a break, there are still others of your blood about. And of course, there are the veritable legions of rodents skittering to and fro. Not squeakers, though. The little fuzzy-butted rodent is napping in the casing of a clock that you've taken apart and are currently working on.
Aw.
Sleeping off that hunk of moldy cheese bigger than he was, no doubt. Little rodent belches and farts interrupt its otherwise quiet slumber here and there. It's kind of fun having squeakers about. You need to feed him blood occasionally, but the little guy is by far better than any pet you've ever had, and certainly better than your foster sister's vicious cat. Damn thing used to use you and your stuff as its scratching post all the time. Not that your temporary guardians ever did anything about it. If anything, you were the one that got in trouble for it. While you do let Squeakers come and go as he wishes, you also think he might want some company. That's not a random rat. Something special. And isn't that a thought? A second Squeakers. Well, I guess now you know what you're doing tonight.
Is this like time for me to act as Pius?
Yes. We're doing your hunt for the second Squeakers. I think you've already named Nibbles out of character.
Yes. How should I start this? What would Pius be doing to get this idea to need a new squeaker's pet? Pius would get up and go to Squeakers and put him into his hand. He would hold it up to his face and go eat and go.
You take a little rat belch to your face.
Pius would just Squeakers. So you seem bored. I think today we should. And he starts looking around the room. We should find you a friend. I think a new companion would do us well. It's nice talking to you, but it gets a little one-sided when you always win the arguments. So today,
Squeakers will, as per his namesake, squeak as he slowly wakes up.
yes. So where should we look for our new friend? Should we stay within the sewers? Should we go up top? It's your choice.
There are two squeaks as he starts nibbling on his tail.
Ah. So we'll go topsy-turvy. Ias would start making his way towards the sewer ladder to make his way out.
Not much obstructs your way to the exit. You have to go through a bit of a windy and curvy path. Straight entrances into the warrens are generally not a good idea, but it doesn't take you long at all, 5 minutes or less, before your form quickly reaches one of the ladders up.
I wonder what kind of rat we're gonna find. Do you want... Ooh, we're gonna find you a girl rat. And he would boop it on the nose. And they would slowly start making their way up.
Yes. Boy rat plus girl rat equals infinite rats. Infinite little squeakers.
Yes, I'll have niblets. So, Pius where would the sewer appear at? Would it pop out like just on any old street?
It's somewhere north, just north of downtown, is where the Warrens are. The exact location I won't say aloud and won't point out in game, both because of laziness as well as because the Nosferatu don't generally make an exact location of their Warrens for anyone to find.
All right, he would make his way out and kind of start searching around like dumpsters and trash cans for any type of rat that would stand out amongst the rest.
It's oddly dry out here tonight. Hasn't rained in a couple of nights, actually. At least not more than a sprinkle here or there. But with the clouds looming on the horizon, rain will probably be coming eventually. Still, for right now, this moment of the night, it's a good time to be searching for a companion when they won't be lurking around in their shelters. Find yourself in the alleyways, and clicks to and fro. None of the buildings here are especially tall, not like they get down closer to the heart of downtown, but they're definitely well over your head. Where do you think to check, beyond dumpsters in general?
Man, can Pius get no? I was gonna say you could try and find like storm drains or not storm drains. What are those things called where the rain goes down the buildings, down like a pipe?
Gutters?
Gutters. There you
Drain
go.
pipes?
Yeah, you'd try and look for like drain pipes. See if you can find any that are like within there. Or you know what? He's gonna ask Squeakers where he should. You know what? He's gonna put Squeakers down and say, "Find yourself a friend."
I'll waive the normal role to command an animal. Squeakers is your bonded ghoul, and this is largely cinematic.
Well,
Squeakers
Squeakers,
squeaks.
since you want a friend, you go find one on your own.
Squeakers squeaks, chirps, and then kind of pats the ground, does a little circle, then a square because circles are for nerds, and runs off in some random direction.
He's getting so big.
You duck behind the dumpster as someone randomly looks down the alleyway, but they move on.
He almost got yelled at, that little nosy bastard.
It's a minute, then 2, then 3, then 5, then 10, then 15. You're not worried, though. Squeakers is a tough little rodent. Smart one, too, even before you gave him your blood. Nowadays, well, you wouldn't be surprised if he could drop kick a cat. Maybe. Assuming he couldn't
Man,
just outrun it to begin with first. Out of
Pies would be
character.
leaning against the wall.
When people or animals become ghouls, they typically gain a dot of potence, as well as sometimes a dot of another discipline belonging to their maker. So yes, it's a rat, and it has a rat strength, but also has a dot of potence.
He could probably bite through some pretty heavy stuff,
Yes,
or at
eventually.
least like harder than like plastic and wood.
Rats on their own can nibble their way through stone eventually.
Hmm.
Eventually, you hear the pitter-patter. You look, half expecting to find any one of the dozens of rodents or cockroaches that have wandered their way past your position in the past half hour. But this time it is absolutely Squeakers. You know because of that little bend in his tail. It's always the same shape. And his ear has that one marking in that one spot. You know you're Squeakers. And Squeakers has a friend.
Oh, Squeakers, who'd you find?
So it's a somewhat chubbier looking little rodent. Still pretty big as far as rats go, but definitely well fed. And judging by the fact that it's still eating something as Squeakers brings it over, Squeakers probably bribed it with food.
Man, you smart little rat. What a way to woo the ladies, and he elbow nudges them.
The lady rat seems a little anxious or skittery around your presence, but it's easy enough to get them to come to you. You're well practiced at that part.
Yeah, Pius would sit down cross-legged next to the new rat and reach into his pocket and then go, oh. So he would pull his fingers out and start snapping them in a rhythmic ticking pattern. Like, kind of like synchronizing his zen to get the rat to be more comfortable.
Your passive use of your prowess does calm it, and eventually it wanders closer. Presumably, you're bribing it with food, or perhaps blood.
Yes. A little bit of blood on like a slice of cheese. So I'd prick my finger and put the blood on some cheese and allow the rat
Yeah,
to eat it.
don't worry about marking vitae. I'm not lessening your guys' blood supply over the course of this time period. I'm assuming
Okay.
you're at least feeding the bare minimum.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And of course, vampire blood is addictive. Anything beyond that is just extra and over the top. And before long, you have a second, even plumper rodent sitting on your shoulder.
Oh, there we go. See, Squeakers? Now we have friends. Not like we don't already have friends, but we now have like-minded friends. And he just starts squeaking weirdly to Squeakers.
Squeakers and the as of yet unnamed rat start squeaking back to you.
Pius would have a sad look on his face, in a sense, not really sad, but like he'd think a little bit harder about a few things, and he would then reply to Squeakers, no matter how bad it gets, like I know I'm gonna have you guys. You have no choice. And then he would make his way back into the sewers.
Does bring the thought to your mind that how long will the others stay with you? You've never been one to keep people forever, and while things are good now, well,
Very true. But the giggle, that's what the giggle was for. Is like, this might be temporary.
no, they're with you forever, unless something does them in.
Yes.
You fed them your blood, after all. They're basically yours. But with that, Pius returns himself to the Warrens. And our camera will pan elsewhere for right now. Another part of town. A building that's closed on the outside. but very active on the inside. Ashley, it's perhaps hard to say how much you find this disgusting, icky, or perhaps fascinating, but it's definitely filled with tension. This night finds you, once more, pulled from your studies, this time by your sire. You're in his basement clinic again, performing impromptu surgery as his assistant, despite having absolutely no actually practical medical schooling or proper training. Prior to the first time Dr. Thorne began his own lessons with you, let alone brought you in here. Doesn't keep you from having to hand the Diablerist new disinfected tools and take old bloody ones away. The patient, a would-be gangbanger most likely, grimaces and groans with each twitch of the medical tools to dig into him, biting harder on the leather strip in his mouth. Back alley patients can't always afford morphine after all. He has friends, or at least fellow members in whatever group he's in, waiting impatiently outside. He almost certainly is some kind of criminal. The only people that come to your sire's clinic after hours for help are those that either don't want or can't risk going to a true hospital. For all the criminality of it, though, your sire's hands are steady. Though considering he has over a century of experience, they ought to be. It still doesn't remove the lurking shadow from your mind. The one cast by the door, not leading out or up, but deeper to the morgue holding Dr. Thorne's staked captives. A pantry, almost. You try not to focus on it. You know if you show even the slightest interest, he'd make his offer again. You said no the first time. You resisted. Would you be able to pull it off again if put in that spot? How easy would it be to fall down that hole, to devour a soul? Too easy, you think, glancing at your sire, their face covered in a surgeon's mask while looking rather focused on the patient. One by one, 5 fragmented bullets are freed from flesh, covered in blood and biomatter that you must ignore while you partly piece them together by hand, to make sure no pieces remain in the patient where they might cause infection that could lead to death. Eventually, the surgical portion ends, the stitching and the cleaning begins. The latter is left to you as the bandages and wrappings are prepared. It is a struggle of willpower to not give in to thirst in this moment, but one you have gotten much better at winning. How does Ashley feel in this moment?
Focused. She's just focusing. She's trying not to pay
Focusing on
attention. She's trying to pay attention
focusing
to
on
the
the task
blood.
at hand.
Yep. And focus on the bullet.
Makes it easier to ignore the blood, and easier still to ignore the other things in the room that might otherwise draw attention and thought. It's not long. Not long until you cleaned up the most of the blood and the area around the wound that's been stitched, given a few alcohol rub-downs, and all the other sanitization things you need to do. And Dr. Thorne takes over with the bandaging, saying words to the patient that you largely ignore, or if you hear them, they're not really things you're focusing on. And eventually, the patient is shown the door to those waiting outside. Dr. Thorne takes his payment in cash, and you are left alone in a room with a, well, to be frank, soul-sucking monster. Are you well, child? The blood didn't get to you too much, I hope.
No, I'm fine. Out of character. There is the wraith here, or is this like a protected area?
Protected from wraiths? No. We'll say you went ahead and made your successful check tonight.
Okay.
So, it's lurking about. Something wrong?
Just lots of thoughts. And I just can't say a whole lot with that monstrosity around.
Yes, I see. Sorry, I've never had cause to ward my private abode with protections from wraiths of all things. But generally speaking, I haven't exactly needed them outside the Chantry until the Giovanni moved into Seattle. I'll have to correct that.
Probably
As for
for the
now,
best.
it should be moving on. Not that I can make it go. That is not, in fact, one of the myriad of powers I've collected over the century. And change. How fast can it follow you?
I have not tried that. I've not really.
Hmm.
I've never paid attention when in a car. I just assumed it was still
Hmm.
there.
Fair enough. And to be fair, it can probably move itself rather swiftly when it needs to. Now, by the time you next visit me down here, I shall update my protections. You better throw off unwanted guests, among other things.
Agreed.
As for you, Watching Wraith, I know you deliver reports back to whoever sent you, and we both know who sent you. Deliver this one as well. Do not interfere in my affairs or those that are mine. I'll know if you keep this up as any other encounters that might come for risking a break in our agreement. He turns back to you. Fortunately, it's about as much as I can say right now while we're being watched. Fortunately, we have a place we can go that's protected from such things. Shall we adieu back to the Chantry?
Sure. Let's go.
Wonderful. How have, and he says as he moves towards the car, your adventures been going with friends? At least anything you can tell while there are ears about.
Um, Adventures have been going well. Uh, we, of course, we found the location of all the missing people.
Indeed, I had heard from the region that you were instrumental in that. Well done.
That and our supposed arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts. I'm afraid I'm not getting the reference. Is this from a movie or the like? I haven't really been keeping up on those. Well, ever.
Well, the Ventru in the Malkavian found out that I had to make my bowl, and they contributed to me having arts in class.
They dumbed down and misnamed what goes on in the Chantry as merely arts and crafts.
Pretty much. The regent wasn't too
That's
happy with
almost
that.
amusing. I'm sure he was. I wish I could have seen the look on his face. It might have been genuinely funny. By now, you're in the car, on your way back to the Chantry. Still, I do worry about you, There's a lot going on. Obviously, the Sabbat weighs foremost on everyone's mind. The city would be better off without them, but even if they weren't here, there are any number of dangers and troubles a young fledgling, neonate, such as yourself, might find their way into. Gosh, 5 years in a neonate already. Makes me proud.
It feels like it's been longer.
It always does. Always. Believe me, I've been at this for in another decade. It shall be 150 years. Good God, where does the time go? New York, a little bit in Boston, back down south, up to here. Wow.
How
Your sire seems positively contemplative of his history as a kindred.
How long did it take you after getting out of the chantry to get into trouble?
Ah, well, trouble. What level of trouble would you prefer to use as the benchmark for this?
Well, considering we have the Sabat and I have the Giovanni on my tail, about that level.
Yeah, the Sabbat level. Well, they were, at least when I was new and freshly of the blood, they were much more prevalent. They had different management, so to speak, to use more modern vernacular, going on about. Their leaders were different and their policies were different. They went through 2 civil wars between now and then, so there has been some changes. But they were, at least in the city I was made in, at least always a presence. The wars over a city can, at least historically, can take over a decade. And even then, control is never guaranteed. Case in point here.
God, I hope it doesn't take a decade to get rid of these guys.
As for other troubles I've gotten up to, well, you'll have to wait a few more minutes, he says as he rounds the turn, not far from the Chantry's garage. His clinic isn't that far away from the Chantry either, for obvious reasons. When we're inside, we'll go straight to my office. My study, rather. As I have further questions I'd like to ask, and I'm sure you have further of your own. Without eavesdroppers. He glances over his shoulder where the Wraith, while not appearing to walk or run, is still floating alongside the car. I'm sure it has a top speed, but not one we can achieve legally. And there are still far too many cars on the road tonight for alternatives.
I'll have to have Olivia test it out on her bike one night.
On her bike. Olivia's the Malkavian, yes?
Oh yeah, her sire
Delightful
gifted
girl.
her a motorcycle.
Is this a request for a car? Delivered sidelong.
I don't need a car. Not right now. Motorcycle would be cool. Then we can race together.
Perhaps as soon as I don't have to worry about you crashing and severely injuring yourself.
I can drive a little bit. Not my first time.
My first time driving an automobile. Oof. Driving was not exactly safe back in the day once it became popular. So many crashes and wrecks, so many near misses. It was very thrilling for someone that wasn't as afraid of death as your average mortal. Honestly, it's like as exciting watching those come along as it was the time I spent working with Mr. Tesla.
You worked with Tesla?
Yes, Nikolai Tesla.
Jeez.
He's a Malkavian, you know.
Did you know Edison too?
Not directly, no. Nothing was ever as sure to start Tesla up as to bring up Edison, though. Even now, at least last I corresponded with him.
Anyone else famous in
he's
history?
long since. What?
Anyone else famous in history that's a vampire? Holy crap.
Well, anyone else that I know specifically, or that I know is a vampire? Please be more specific.
The second one.
Which one was that? The personally one, or the one that he knows is a vampire?
Knows is a vampire.
Let's see. Are you? No, I don't think you're old enough unless you watched the old black and white classics. But did your parents ever watch some of the old black and white tap dancing movies?
I believe they did.
Hmm.
I was really
Does the name
little,
Gary
so.
Golden ring a bell?
Gary Golding. It sounds familiar. I was little when they were alive, so
I think his most famous film was Tap Dance Hotel. Anyway, he is a Nosferatu now, I believe, down in Los Angeles. At least that's what Donovan told me. And generally speaking, I trust what Donovan tells me. When he's willing to talk, anyway.
I think a lot of people trust him to an extent.
Well, to an extent, yes. The Camarilla as a whole relies on Clan Nosferatu, even those that would otherwise look down their noses at the clan. Not that I think it's wise to do so. Nosferatu are well known for having eyes everywhere, save perhaps for the insides of our chantry. Well, our chantry at least. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a couple they managed to sneak a spy into. But ours, well, dear Regent Steele has put together a lot of effort to keep it safe.
I'm thankful for that.
By now, you have made your way into the chantry and are now heading to his office. Hmm. Yes, well. Now that we are away from prying eyes and ears, what else would you like to tell me about your recent happenings with your coterie? I've noticed y'all are still together despite having completed your assignment, so I hope that means well.
We've we've bonded quite a bit. I think we just kind of enjoy each other's company.
We vampires are an odd dichotomy in the way we go about our business. We are both selfish and often solitary, but crave social interaction at the same time. Even if you think yourself otherwise, go long enough without it, and you'll be pulled out by your need to have some sort of interaction, whether it is entirely social or perhaps more intellectual.
I think that's where I've gotten. I'm so used to being in here with all the books and the quiet. I needed some spice of life.
Yes, well, be careful with enjoying that spice of life. At least, without me to cover for you.
Of course.
Speaking of the troubles I got up to, well, most of my troubles began in New York, which was 7 years after I was embraced. So, 2 years longer than you, I suppose. You obviously know one of the things I got up to, but there were a few others. Like starting a riot between Irish workers and the local police because we needed to be able to control the construction of a bridge, of all things. Granted, I was not responsible for that riot spewing out of control and a gunshot triggering violence, but that went to someone else entirely, which was fortunately cleared up.
Jeez. I can't see you causing a riot.
Now,
Start a riot.
influencing on the background and all that. Of course, speaking of time, I've tried adjusting to social norms and what is considered polite in polite society over the course of the last century and a half. Goodness. For example, when I was growing up, well, a certain demographic of society was still widely kept as slaves. And I grew up inside the South, so imagine. Granted, eternity does allow itself a lot of time for contemplation and philosophical undertakings. That still took me like 30 years to get over, though. Well, let it be an example that even as an eternal, undying being, change is always possible.
Old dog's gotta learn new tricks to stay alive.
Well, that is one
Or
of it, yes.
undead.
Bork.
Also, because learning new tricks is some of the most enjoyable things you can do as a member of Clan Tremere, even if you have to break the rules occasionally.
I do enjoy that, being able to learn new things.
And with this, I'm going to bring this conversation to a close because I realize I've been going on as Dr. Thorne for a bit too long.
I want to hear his rebel streak.
Perhaps another time, then. Sorry, but when it comes to the NPCs that I like, and especially the ones that are former characters, it is really easy to just slip into them and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Which... Hmm.
Elvin.
Wait, let me... No, it's not going to Alvin. It's going to
Damn
Olivia
it.
first. First, I have to go to the bath.
That's fair.
Just flagged a fake IP for my Jutsu game.
Oh.
Little bastard. Tried re-releasing it as his own.
What a dick.
Yeah, it happens. I sift through the thing to make sure my shit's not stolen.
Oh, now you message me back. Weird. Sorry, Nick.
You're okay.
But our conversation came to a close when you didn't message back within 2.5 seconds.
Ooh.
Rude.
This coupon has expired just now, but you just handed it to me. It expired. Leave the store.
Don't feel bad. I haven't gotten a response from Steph in the... what day was it? The 9th at 7:30.
Jesus Christ! You haven't done to the date?
Because I can go back and read the chat log, dipshit.
Hey, Anna,
Man.
just delete the chat. No
Man.
evidence.
You know, and she closed the RP on me for only 5 days of waiting.
You were taking too long, and then I got bored, and I was like, fuck it. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Oh, man.
And honestly, I've been very drained and tired as of late, and I have not had any brain power.
It's the season.
Yeah. And honestly, Nick and everybody, I am going to be talking to Anna about those Discord. It's just not going to be in Discord, like messaging. It's going to be voice chat. And I will log it in the Discord in me and Anna's chat.
What's being logged in the Discord?
I haven't responded to Anna since the 9th for the party stuff, so I'm going to talk to her after game about what she's posted back to me. So I'm gonna log our voice chat in our Discord messages so that she can't say I didn't message her back.
I was just giving her shit.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna go cry. No, I'm kidding.
no.
You can't go cry. It's your turn.
I'll cry
Yeah,
during my
exactly.
turn.
Awesome. I have time to get coffee, too.
Yeah, Alvin, you've got time. You can go do your thing.
My thanks, storyteller.
Just
Okay.
marry him already.
No, thank you. I don't swing that way.
At least he gives me time.
What the fuck? Bitch! Go get your goddamn coffee and go shit your brains out.
Yeah, Nick is missing entirely too many of the parts I require in a partner, and has like, one extra part I definitely do not want in a partner.
That's fair.
In any case, Olivia. While others may have found the nights of waiting thick with tension, waiting for the conflict to come, when it comes to Olivia, that couldn't possibly be further from the truth. On her new bike, wearing her new leathers, it's hard to worry about things like Sabat eating people and making monsters when you're speeding along with the speedometer in the triple digits. True, it's hard to find the room to move when you're in Seattle, even late at night, when there's usually some amount of people on the roads, but you've been getting better at finding spots where you can toss those nagging things like worries, anxiety, dreams, and nightmares aside. And the cops too, occasionally. Sometimes, perhaps they even catch you, but their minds are easy to play with if they do. But it's not really enough, is it? Sure, it's easy enough to just go fast, at least in a straight line. But what about tight turns, hard banking, or outright competition? You need to be better, or at least you want to. And of course, competitions with friends that you can laugh with after. If you're gonna be stuck in the stream for a while, you want more friends or buddies for sure. Alvin, Ashley, and Pius are great and all, but that's just 3 people. Less than you have fingers on one hand. And none of them seem to like or care for bikes all that much. At least, perhaps you just need to ask them. But that's fine. They like other things you like, probably. And if you don't have any biker friends, you at least know where you can get some. These thoughts, these are the thoughts that bring you to the Stormer's Den. And the Thunderdogs within. Also, memories of the time you got blood drunk here with Pius, but that's beside the point. It's with gusto that you throw open the old-style double doors and stride on in. Though only a few look up at you initially. That's fine. It was only your first attempt entering as a biker. You can improve.
Hold on. What is going
Sure.
on? There we go. Okay, I think I have it. Okay. So we're at the Stormer's Den?
You're at the Stormer's Den, looking for biker friends or perhaps a way to get into some form of biker street racing.
I'll go up to the bar and ask the bartender if there's any way to, like, if there's, like, any competitions going on, like racing or anything.
Bartender pauses, puts down the large glass mug he has in one hand with a rather loud clack. Doesn't seem to have any sign of breaking it, though. You're not a cop, are you? I mean, Missy? Hey, weren't you in here like a few nights ago?
I have
remember ya.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, come on, you were playing billiards with, frickin' Joe.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I was here.
Yeah, you had some pals with you. I don't see them with you, but that's fine. Yeah, nice new leathers you got there. Now, are you just into this as a hobby, or is this your new passion project?
Oh no, I'm looking to get better.
Well, better we can definitely do, no matter how good you are. But the question is, are you serious? Because, lady, if you're new to this, there is some risk of bodily injury. Let's not lie to ourselves here. Not necessarily someone's going to sabotage you. We might look rather rough and tumble, down and dirty type, but if anyone does you dirty on the racing track, and you live to tell about it, you let us know. We'll take care of them pronto.
I'm not worried about it. I think I'm okay. I just want to ride the night all the way through.
Okay, well, what you working with?
Oh shit, I forgot what bike she has. I think it's like a GTS Yamaha.
The actual brand, make, and model is entirely you as a description.
I'll have to look at it. Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah. Okay, well, go. We can just skip right over that part if you want.
Yeah, basically it's a bike that goes fast. And it's red.
It's a cross rocket. Got it.
Yeah, it goes fast. Oh, pink and
That's
blue.
nice.
Yeah.
So it's really colorful. But you seem the colorful type. Why are the streamers on the handlebar, though?
It makes the bike go
I'm
fast.
not going to dish you for it. I'm just curious.
Well, you see, I heard from a little birdie that it can make it go faster. So, why not?
Yeah, did you add flames and stripes, too?
I think I'm good with where
I'm
it's
just
at.
joshing with you. Don't take it too personally or nothing like that. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you're not a cop. And even if you are, worst you could do is get me. I mean, not like you've met any of the others yet. So yeah, we got some events occasionally. Some friendlier than others. Some more for the prize pot. Not too often, though. Usually every couple weeks. Need time ahead of time to try and clear a stretch or know where a stretch is going to be available.
Well,
And who to pay off, of course, because you don't want anyone interrupting.
well, how do I sign up for it? Because I would like to actually take my bike out for um more than just city driving.
He nods, comes out from behind the bar. It's a slow seeming night anyway, but it's starting the week. Walks over to a door you know well. It's the one that leads back into the back hallways and chambers. You've been back there before, albeit obfuscated. And he hammers on the door with a couple of big, meaty thumps. And someone opens it, head sticks out. You definitely recognize him.
Who is it?
Just Joe.
Okay.
Let her in. Just sign her up. She's good. And he'll leave you to that as you get pulled into the back hallways and into a rather messy office that has a dartboard on one wall that's festooned with darts and more than a few empty beer cans and bottles. Maybe some other things mixed in there too.
Yeah.
All right, big man says you're good. What you here for? Racing? Something else? We got dog fighting. You here for that?
Not dogfighting. I'm here for racing.
Righto, racing. What am I putting you down as? No real names, just like handles or the like, in case like someone gets a hold of the list.
Huh. Shit. I never thought about that.
Yeah, you got time.
Fuck, I don't know what to actually give her. Shit. Guys, do you have a suggestion?
Dreamwheeler.
Fuck.
Wait, am I muted?
No, you're
not
there.
muted.
Oh, okay.
Fuck, I don't know. Hold on.
I'm just gonna spam general until something sticks.
Just throw everything on the wall.
You know what? Just call her Spectre.
Ooh.
Fuck it.
All right.
Because
You
she's
want
gonna...
that? You want that with the normal proper spelling of ER? Or do you want to get fancy with it? I've seen some people spell it RE for some reason.
Let's get a little fancy.
Righto. Spectre. All right. Well, you got you got a phone number or something we can contact you at?
Oh, yeah! I got a phone number. And she gives it to him, writes it down.
Yeah, we keep these separate and in the safe, so don't worry about it.
Okay. Whoop. Oh, and then, so the race is in a week from now?
Next one is in about a week. Yeah, a week in a couple of days. Next Friday, actually.
Ooh.
Not this
Yeah,
Friday.
time.
Next Friday. Yeah, time to prepare yourself. I recommend preparing yourself a lot.
Is
On the
it
other
gonna...
hand, if you're just here to have fun and not necessarily to win this first time, yeah, just practice avoiding, I guess, obstacles or other speed hazards. But for your record, it will be Friday, the 28th of September.
Okay. I'll note it down. I'll definitely be here.
Won't be here, sweetheart. Won't be here.
Well, I know. I meant I'll definitely show up.
After party will be here. You want to join us for the after party? It usually gets pretty wild.
Hell yeah. I'll be here for that. Definitely.
Wonderful.
But, alright. I think I'm gonna head out. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Doors that way. See you around.
Alright. gives him a peace sign and then leaves.
One mad woman entered into a biking competition later. Yeah.
I totally realized I could have just called her Morpho after the butterfly that's on her bike. Oh well.
Opportunity missed. Oh well. So sad.
Yep. Oh well.
Oh. Well, either way, that does bring us to Alvin, finally. Alvin, you've had an hour and 20-minute break. How did it feel?
Oh man, it's over already.
Yeah, don't worry. You get another one after this.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, two
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah. Man, I didn't know it was my birthday.
You hit the jackpot.
I have coffee too, so I'm like,
What? God
yeah.
damn it.
Go make your own
Don't-
coffee before it's your turn.
Don't worry. Don't worry. It's not like freshly ground coffee. It's just instant coffee.
And David has hazelnut coffee he could be drinking.
I know, right? Don't worry. I'll make this quick.
Alvin, it's been a night. Only one night since revealing the information your girls learned of the prince and the other ruling members of the Camarilla in Seattle. Now all that's left is to wait. Officially. Of course, Alvin is hardly inactive. There are people and places that need looking after, that need to be protected, kept safe, no matter what. Which is why it's so lively upstairs, despite being after closing. Your desire to keep the Rotary Club, Allison's circle of friends busy, but also needing time to plan to keep them occupied, resulted in this potentially risky play. Through the use of Kyle, it was easy to drop some sort of contest or prize or sponsorship, resulting in a sort of late-night event for the club. Here, at the Daily Bagel. It was, in part, why you were downstairs in the basement suite, of course. You couldn't be seen. But all the same, your sister is separated from you by not more than 20 feet at most. And you can't let yourself see her directly or see her at all. If your heartbeat still beat, this might be close to heart-wrenching. Feelings aside, this sort of play had its dangers, but you needed to buy time to prepare further plans, keep them organized and busy, and most of all safe until this mess blew over. Still, there are some entirely business benefits of this. Getting to spread word of mouth advertisement for the bagel, of course, and getting to test some small scale of your future land setups. You had Lucy to thank for helping set that up. You could have done it yourself, but the girl blitzed her way through the setup process like it was second nature. Maybe it was. Who knew what she got up to while helping her would-be guardians on a job? You shouldn't be able to hear, but the knock on the back at the back door upstairs ends up sending a touch of concern through you. And a little over a minute later is the much more easily heard pattering of feet down the stairs and a second knock at your door.
We'll, peek through the, eyepiece that lets you kind of glance through, almost like an apartment door that's been affixed to this in the events just like this, mostly as a precautionary scenario.
Yep. Waiting outside the door is one Lucy Pines.
Without word, just to make sure that things are still on the level. The door will be open to let Miss Pines downstairs.
She enters, looking more than a little concerned. Hey, Alvin?
What's up, Lucy?
There's a car out back, and some guy told me to tell you that the big man's waiting on you, and he's supposed to take you somewhere.
The big man. What does this person look like?
The man waiting outside? Shoot,
I'm gonna describe Anthony for her, just in
yeah, it's
case.
Anthony on the nose. It's Anthony on the nose.
I see. Well,
I mean, should I tell him to go away?
no, that's I might to ignore this. I do have pressing matters at the moment.
Out of character, have you told Lucy Allison is your sister?
No,
Okay.
I have only made mention of that to uh, the coterie and to Kyle at this point.
Need to know. Got it.
You can make the excuse that you're too busy making a cup of coffee. It takes all your attention. It's going to be the greatest cup of coffee ever, and it's going to take like all night.
Let me ask, though. You seem concerned. Should I be?
I just don't know who they are. I mean, I guess the name is Anthony now, and I don't know. I don't really know who the big man is. In this city, that could be like any number of people, and not all of them are friendly.
He'll kind of give her a head pat and go, thanks. But this one's probably all right.
Okay, well, if you say so. I want to go get back to the party. Some of these people are actually pretty fun.
That's good. Many of them are very bright alumni from the college. And while you've been around the block for a little bit longer than your years glean, I'm sure there's still yet things that they can share with you that might broaden your horizons.
I'm not old.
I never said that.
She will give you a small frown,
You're
but the
very talented.
twinkle in her eyes shows you it's not too serious as she leaves to head back upstairs.
It's in these
From Lucy's
cases that
description,
Alvin.
they're at the back door.
Yeah, it's in these cases that Alvin's going to have to consider a subterranean egress from the basement.
You mean one that doesn't go through the sewers?
Yes, but in this specific instance, I'm sure that Alvin has at least learned the close enough manhole covers
Oh yeah, you know where the closest 2 or 3 manhole covers are. Yes.
in order to make such a departure without having to use the daily bagel as his normal
I mean,
exit.
there's back rooms upstairs that don't require you to go directly into the bagel, but people would hear you coming up the stairs and
Hmm.
closing doors. And since everyone that's in the building is either in the main room or somewhere upstairs working on something, yeah, it would sound odd that there's another pair of footsteps if they heard you. But that would be a risk not sure you want to take.
It's at this point that I would like to make sure that it is clear that while Kyle seems to run and manage things during the daytime, once Jim has felt acclimated, it is now going to be his task to kind of keep an eye on affairs while the evening strolls about, whether it's people upstairs, whether it's people about the place poking their noses where they don't belong.
Kyle's understudy, in other words.
Hmm. Jim's on night duty for all intents and purposes. They can overlap during the afternoon portions of the day, so that way Kyle can impart anything that Jim may need to know, and vice versa.
Excellent. I will make a note of that.
In this specific instance, Alvin will, however, take the sewer, having grown a bit accustomed to using it as an entrance and exit, thanks to the adventures we've had with the rest of the coterie.
Well, your alternative manner of egress certainly allows you to come up behind one Anthony Bell and the car he drove to get here without him realizing you're there.
You summoned me?
Ah! Oh, goodness, man! Just sneak up on a guy like that. Not these nights.
Hmm.
Hey, how the hell did you get out of there without coming out the door?
A magician never really reveals his secrets.
Uh-huh. Right, well, keep your damn secrets.
Hmm.
Sorry to bother you. I've apparently got something going on in there, but, yeah, Mr. Wayman wants to see you.
Hmm. A little
And when I say
curious.
once, he's not really asking either. I mean, this seems like one of those voluntold sort of things.
I see. It's a little surprising that he didn't send a forward message then.
Didn't he? I was sworn he said he sent a message.
No, no, not at all.
He sent the new guy with it. You didn't get it?
You're gonna have to explain to me who this new guy's supposed to be.
Oh, well, one of the security ghouls he keeps for the tower. Apparently he judged them, like, I guess, useful for more than just guarding. Kind of wanted to give them some courier duties. This was like their fifth one they were supposed to deliver. Not fifth one to you, mind you, but yeah, fifth one overall. Been doing pretty good so far. I figured I'd be showing him how to drive like a proper fucking chauffeur soon.
Hmm. Alvin will kind of, look about the alleyways, see if there's anything that's been dropped off towards the back.
But nothing stands out.
Neither one of my ghouls have dropped off a message for me from anyone considering the tower, so I believe your man has failed you.
You're supposed to do it at the end of last night. Or sometime during the day today. I guess I'll have to relay that one when we get there. Then maybe you'd be better with the one to do it.
Mhm. But a moment.
I got like a schedule list like a mile long tonight. Not just because he hasn't shown up today. Or tonight.
But one moment. Alvin will kind of whip
Right.
out his phone, give Kyle a quick call.
Yeah, boss.
I have exited the bagel for the evening. It seems that I am being summoned by my superior. I'll be back eventually.
Right, well, if it sets your mind at ease, event's going well. Guest of honor currently kept busy and happy.
Good, good. Let's make sure that flyers and coupons are ready for the forwarding days for the staff of the bagel.
Right.
My thanks again, Kyle. Make sure not to work yourself too much.
And well, even if I was of a mind to do that, I've got Jim here now, and he's pretty handy.
Excellent. I'll be in contact when things change for the evening schedule. I am armed, regardless.
Roger that.
End the call.
The sounds of party end as the call ends.
All right. You and Mr. Wayman have my utmost attention.
Yep. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. That's on him. It could maybe he just wants to know how you're doing. I have no idea. And I just do what the big man tells me. You know how it goes.
I hear you, Anthony.
It's not too long till you return to a place you haven't been in. Well, gosh, it's been nearly a couple weeks at this point, hasn't
Mm-hmm.
it? One of the highest suites in 2 Union Square. Third tallest building in the Seattle skyline. And, of course, sitting behind the desk is the one you knew to expect. One Arthur Waitman. Valdric. I see you're here on good time.
As always. What is it that you need me for, Arthur? It's unlike you not to send a forward notice.
Not send a fort. I sent one. Granted, it was near the end of last night, but you should have gotten it early in the evening. I know you're early to rise.
It's not like you to hire sloppy work either.
Well, I suppose I'll have to reconsider recent appearances or recent promotions whenever I see Mr. Peter again. According to Anthony, he hasn't shown up for work tonight. Odd, he's always been punctual before.
Are you keeping them tracked adequately? Eyes
How do
where
you
they need to
mean?
be. Keeping contact with the local authorities, keeping contact with clients that might refer to him, keeping in touch with their mortal lives.
Somewhat. I have people that keep apprised overall, and if anything turned up untoward about them, I would know immediately. Or I should know immediately. I'll have to put some feelers out, see what went down. It's not
Alvin
like
shrugged.
those bonded to the blood to just not do their job. It's not like we
There's
don't pay him well.
They're still mortals, still have lives, things that go on, ambitions that make them tick.
I forget how young you are sometimes. But generally, the orders we give those that have tasted our blood at least 3 times are absolute. God's word on earth, as it might be considered.
Let's just say I have a little more faith in their will of self.
I'll let you keep that. I think you're wrong. No, you're wrong, but that's beside the point. I called you here tonight in hopes, as my missive stated, which you apparently didn't get, to keep abreast of the view of how your work is proceeding from your point of view, and to, of course, speak about recent unpleasantness and some shining beacons inside that unpleasantness. Please have a seat.
Alvin will take one at the request.
Well, how goes it?
Things are moving apace to where I'm liking developments, if you're asking in terms of the business front. New ventures are opening up. Communications have been opened with the local business owners.
Always a good step forward when starting small. But tell me, how does your own preparations fail? Surely you're worried about what we're doing.
If you're speaking of the Sabat issue, I can assure you that I'm well ahead of the curve with the assistance of my coterie members.
Hmm. A
I'm
good, a
surprised
good,
that word
strong
has not
coterie
reached
is
you.
what?
I'm surprised that word hasn't reached you yet. I
Well,
would
I'm
have
aware
thought
of
that
your actions with your coterie. And a good, strong coterie is most useful, most beneficial, even, at times, stress-relieving as much as it is stress-inducing. But more is always better. Redundancy is the key to success, whether in business or on the battlefield.
you needn't worry. I've done my diligence to extend open communication with a number of those that walk the night like we.
Hmm. So I suspect, and so I've given from some of the reports I've received, and a lot of reading between the lines. Still, I've put a lot of work into you. I have a lot of belief in you. I don't want to see it snuffed out. Hmm. Of course, my approval and backing of your successes is only furthered when I hear such news as what reached my ears from Elysium a night or two ago. Finding the location of our enemies and being the first to do so. Well done.
A feat only possible through the joint efforts of my coterie. I was but a facilitator of a venue.
But such duties often fall to us. Has been true, we are often the orchestrators, the organizers, the ones that bring everything together. The actual achievements, the actual breakthroughs may be accomplished by those we take care of. Do keep in mind that we are the ones that facilitated it and brought it into existence. I'm well aware that the truest triumph might be claimed by your Tremere counterpart or your Malkavian one, or perhaps both. That isn't the reason I praise you. Though it is certainly a highlight to know that those you are with are competent in their crafts.
They're eccentric and I enjoy them.
Some frivolity does.
Okay. Did you ask?
What?
I'm sorry. I was
What?
talking to my phone.
Oh, okay. Where was that? All right. Some frivolity does make light of things that might otherwise seem hardship. Speaking of the Malkavian, is she well?
Been a rough couple of days, but she finds ways to make things seem a bit brighter.
Hmm.
She's
Word on
taking
the
it with
grape.
some stride.
Word on the grapevine is spreading that she has some more oracular gifts, almost.
We're still figuring out what she's delving into. As to the particulars, I don't pretend to understand the occult in the same way that other scholars might.
To be fair, the occult of our world and those that share it is as deep and black as the darkest depths of the ocean.
I wouldn't tell her that. I don't think she'd like that analogy.
I didn't mean it as an insult or the like, just that it's quite a heady topic and not one that can be covered in even at least several years' worth of evenings. I know I have met some scholars that have made it their life's work, even one of which that's, well, older than the Renaissance. And that's fairly old by those that come here to the New World.
Well,
And
considering
they
that we've
still
not
have
negotiated,
mastered it. Yep, go on.
considering we haven't really negotiated the details on the previous goals, achievements, and backing, how about extending a couple of those tendrils you have in contacts for someone who does understand these arts quite a bit better, with the understanding that if she were to have oracular capabilities, that teacher might be able to assist in expanding those for her, an avenue.
Be clear. Are you asking for help of a certain nature or a tutor to more occult leanings?
Since you mentioned that you would financially back me on a project, I would like to invest in my coterie member and make sure that she has whatever resources she might chime up for in order to explore this avenue.
Hmm. That's quite the ask. Not that it's above what you are certainly worth asking for, but most of my contacts and network is realms of finance or more physical means. Not saying that it's impossible, but it would take time to put the feelers out and perhaps find one of those more suited. Typically, though, the ones more suited are either attached to their locations or wanderers, both of whom are hard to contact, but not impossible. I think I still have the address of one of them, assuming he's still there. Is there anything else you wish, or is it just the bettering of those that you organize? I'm
Present moment.
told that you plan to be remodeling soon.
Yes, and I do believe I have that well in hand.
Hmm,
Alvin will give a coy kind of smirk.
I'm glad. Though the nature of this remodeling is what brings some, not confusion, not disapproval, just, yes, I find it strange, but that's just the rate at which the world is moving on. Hmm. Like your call with investing in some of the technologies that were on the horizon 5 years ago.
Alvin just keeps his wordless smirk.
Yes, yes, keep your amusement. You've earned it.
I'm going to continue to invest in the environment that I've been placed within and make sure that things are as I want them to be. And if it ends up being that I expand it further, so be it. Or if
Hmm.
I'm content to just stay within this small little coffee shop, sending feelers out and making sure that people know where they can get what they want. Fine by me, too.
You'll find, especially as you grow older and more into your blood, that contentment is something that often eludes us. Well, not entirely, but partly. Hmm. Sorry, you've just made me think back to my own experiences early in this life, or in life. Hmm. There was a
So,
lot of opportunities during Reconstruction.
please repeat that.
There was a lot of opportunities during Reconstruction.
In terms of this tower,
Oh, no, no, I meant the Reconstruction. After the Civil War.
ah, I see.
You might remember, or might have forgotten from your prelude, that he was a captain in the Union infantry. Or not a captain, but like some sort of officer in the Union
Yeah.
infantry, I forget which.
Alvin remembers, but he's making sure he's on the same page.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, this tower is new. It was new when I brought you here. Like, I invested a lot of money in having it built. I wasn't the only investor, mind you, but, well, my name's on the deed for a reason. Well, not my name, but cover name. You know.
Indeed, it was a little surprising that we never decided to make sure that coverage was handled in terms of the incident involving me and my release upon the world.
Huh, I thought we faked your untimely death quite well.
And yet I still brandish the name that should surely be dead.
Hmm,
Alvin
perhaps.
shrugs.
Perhaps. Still, while Valdric might not be me the most common of names. Hmm. It will have to be something you think about in terms of public identity in the mortal world in a decade or two. You absolutely vanished from the world for 5 years. Did you think I was idle in that time?
I think it was a little sloppy considering that my sister decided to come to college here.
Hmm.
And you can't tell me you didn't know about that.
Oh, I absolutely knew she was coming here. I'd already made dozens, hundreds of Alvin Valdrics all over the world. More on the East Coast than here. I made hundreds more, or had hundreds more made once I knew she was coming here.
Mm,
Active, some of them I'm still paying people to keep active in terms of this new time of social being. I have people that I'm paying to pay people to act under the name of Alvin Valdric in at least 12 different American cities.
mm. Alvin
That
internally
created
thinks
quite a
this is a small.
smokescreen.
Alvin internally thinks this is a little bit cruel considering that that's now just, tossed in front of her face, but he's not going to make a comment about it.
Hmm. No one that knew you when you were alive still thinks you were alive, save for apparently a recent reacquaintance.
Hmm. Yeah, what do you know of the Giovanni situation?
A fair bit, depending on which part you want to know. They controlled. They prefer their finance control to be in the form of banking establishments, for instance. And indeed, most of my knowledge of them regards battling wit against wit with them in that arena. Of course, everyone knows the other bits, the incestuous nature of their main clan and bloodline, the necromantic blood arts they like to practice.
Talk to me specifically. What's Lucio's deal?
Lucio?
Hmm.
Lucio. Hmm. Lucio. Yeah, I think I met him once. I know I met him once before now. It was back about 50 years ago. Hmm. The Giovanni used to have a section of the city back in the day. It's considerably smaller now. But his deal, I believe he wants something here, something that's here specifically. I don't know what it is, because I haven't needed or desired to know that, and I haven't needed to deal with him recently. It's not been a priority.
Going to offer a rare insight into the ongoings of recent days, under the
Oh?
understanding that I might make waves that might not please you.
All right, brace me.
Rocco is a former Air Force buddy of mine
I'm aware.
and was effectively turned when the proffered prospect was not available and is now taking the brunt of this displeasure from his
It's one
sire.
of your coterie members, isn't it?
Hmm, indeed.
Hmm.
Lucio steps out of line. I'm not going to hold back in terms of
Nor should you.
aggression
If he
against him.
steps if he steps out of line or is aggressive towards you and yours, then treaty or not, you are perfectly in your right to defend what's yours. And what's yours does include your coterie to some extent. After all, alliances have to be honored, even just the ones between friends.
There was a fairly threatening gaze at the collection that we had under the prince's announcements and execution of the Fordon Butcher. We currently are dealing with a specter of sorts that follows my coterie member every waking place she goes.
So it's one of the girls, I think. The Malkavian is named Olivia Foster, and you have Ashley's. So I'm going to assume it's the one with the Italian last name.
I'm not going to divvy out any more details considering it's not really my thing to tell, but having you understand
Very
the
well.
situation and understanding that there may be waves outside of this little Sabbat scuffle.
Very well. If it helps, you will have my backing in the social arena.
Hmm.
No matter how this goes down. Well, 99.9% of how this goes down. If you do something crazy, like try first strike with fire and brimstone on their abode, that might be beyond my ability to cover your ass for.
I don't plan to start a fight, but I've got no problem finishing one.
Well, you know what they say, child. If you start a fight, you're an asshole. If you finish one, you're a goddamn hero.
So far, it's been limited to stalking, but we can neither confirm nor deny the source, and just have speculation.
None of my eyes and ears have reported any stalking, so I'm going to assume this is not exactly the kind you can see.
I
Normally.
said it was a specter, did I not?
Did you? Out of character, I missed that, so
No problem.
that's my bad.
We've already established Wayman doesn't listen very well to Alvin.
Sometimes. Still. I hope you make it through this. Hope we all
Me
make
too.
it through this. But as it is, I do believe it is time for us to part. A little earlier than I would have liked, but I apparently need to invest time in looking for a missing person.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you required, Arthur?
Not at all. Anthony can see you back to your place, or wherever else it is you wish to go.
Fair enough. A calm evening to you. Calvin will get up and leave.
What did he say? Sorry.
A calm evening to you.
And to you. No matter how many storm clouds may be on the horizon.
Albin's going to be using the hot coil from the driving car to light a cigarette. Because he can't use a lighter, but that coil's not fire.
The burning embers of the cig rouse some concern from your beast, but it's quiet and easily shoved aside.
The first one since 5 years.
You get
I
none
was
of the
muted, but
stress
you just
relieving,
had me
though.
crack out in laughter.
Hmm.
That was funny.
Sorry that took a bit long, but I believe we're moving on to the next one. Unless there was something else you wish to say.
I'm good.
Physically,
All right.
yeah, he wouldn't get anything from the cigarette, but he could still get something emotionally from it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going back to bed.
Yep. What? No, please don't. I can't tell if she's serious or not.
Oh no, there's totally like a whole entire like hedge, like probably like a half a block hedge that she's gonna fade away into now.
I'm thinking about it.
Slowly backs
I'm-
into a hedge.
I'm sorry.
No,
where I parked my car.
no, I'm fine. I'm just laying on my bed because my chair is being weird.
Why are some of my sleep gummies missing, Staff?
You
I
have
did not-
sleep gummies?
I did not have any of your
Oh,
damn
melatonin
gummies.
gummies.
No,
No,
I'm teasing. I'm
She needs some of
We've
those
already
sleepy
established that
stickers.
Steph is a, lightweight.
Yes.
In any case, this brings us all the way back around.
Oh, yes.
pious.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
I actually need to change my own
do
path here.
Pius is a chia pet now. Pius.
I bet he wouldn't mind a chia pet, but it won't grow down in the warrens.
Sadly, no.
I mean, you'll have to wait for a UV light or something.
It would slowly wilt away, and then it would just remind Pius of his own eternal suffering.
Are you kidding? He's been happier unalive than he's ever been alive.
It is very true.
Hmm. A new night begins, and you find yourself either nervous or excited, dreading or eager. Tonight's the night of your time Lynette has claimed for herself through Donovan. You know that whatever it ends up being, will probably be worth seeing, experiencing, or learning. It's only whatever comes after and how it may end up changing you that gives you cause for any concern. But if there's one thing Pius Brisbane is, it's the unrelenting desire, the need to know, to experience whatever you can. Emphasis on the scattered disassembled clocks all around you. Whether it's taking apart those clocks or machines to figure out how they work and put them back together, or whatever taboo craft lets you reanimate corpses and more to do your bidding. Pius wants it, and wants to know how it works. Rules certainly never stopped him before. They were always biased against him anyways. The new ones, belonging to the ending night of his new life, seem better on the surface, but only time will tell. Your feet carry you along to the entrance of the so-called guest chambers, where Lynette has made her habitat. The outer door creaks open, leading you past the entryway and the haunting stares of the unliving guards you know lay about in the deeply pooled shadows. You can't really see them, but you know they're there. Lynette awaits you inside her study. One moment.
Ooh,
I love things like this.
familiar.
Nice things. Mhm. Yep. One moment. Where is my mouse wheel scroller keeps like bouncing up when I scroll down for some
So,
reason.
so I'm making my way to Lynette.
Yep.
Pius would knock on her door, knowing that he's trying to be as polite as possible whenever he's around her.
Mm-hmm. Well, your feet do carry you along to the entrance of her so-called guest chamber. More maybe. After knocking, the oh wait, no, that's back there. The interior door awaits you. You knock, and the call for you to enter comes. Lynette awaits you inside her study. She doesn't look up, at least not right away, but you know she knows you're there. It's not a matter of snubbing you, so much as hurrying to finish elegantly scribbling the last of whatever she was noting down. When she looks up, her face is as calm and passive as always. For once, though, she is not bothering to use her fan, and when she opens her mouth to greet you, nothing obstructs your view of her shark-like teeth. I see
Pius
you
would
made your way. Go ahead. Sorry.
say Pius would do his ear-to-ear smile and say, "Ah, there's the smiling face I wanted to see."
Hmm. I see you made your way here on time. Good. Are you well?
Yes, actually, I've made a new friend. And he would hold out nibbles.
Curious. Does that make two now?
It does. Doesn't it, Squeakers? And he looks over at his shoulder.
More eyes and ears are always good, I find.
Indeed. Nibbles was getting quite lonely. He needed his own rat friend.
I thought Squeakers was the first one.
He would just shake his head. Yes, you're right.
Well, tonight we have a little something special planned. You might need to leave them be, that they will be perfectly fine here. Don't worry. A field trip, as it were. She smiles, an odd expression on the normally permanently reserved face. It's small, but they're all the same. A smile of daggers, perhaps, but an honest one. Her hand reaches to grab the fan from its place on the desk, and she tucks it into the belt of old battered and rusty knives she straps around her waist, over an old-fashioned leather butcher's apron. Her typical wear for going out for anything practical, even when not body hunting. You ready to go?
Yes, yeah. Let's do this.
She leads you away from the study, and into the main chamber. A decommissioned cistern, perhaps, or one that simply vanished from the books and blueprints without ever having been used at all. Knowing your clan, it could be either. Regardless, Lynette leads you carefully between what are probably various side projects back to the way you came in. Alas, for what we are about to do, doing it down here may be a bad idea. We'll need to go through the surface for this, but too far into it. That's all right with you, yes?
Yep, I'm with you every step of the way.
Well, we're going quite far tonight. Short journey or no. They climb up a ladder. It's odd seeing her climb a ladder somehow. But not because she shouldn't be able to do it, it just seems odd seeing her do it. Somewhere deep down, at least. You find yourself in an alley up above, without too much ado. Oop, oop. Hmm. I've prepared ahead of time what we need, he says, walking over to one of the older looking buildings, if the wear and tear on the bricks is anything to go by. And as you get closer, you notice that even with the rain dribbling everywhere, there's a pattern drawn into the bricks. Hmm. Dark, red, brown, dried blood is the first thing that pops into your mind, and probably the most accurate guess you will ever get. It almost looks like a door.
Are we going in? Oh God, is this another neck break one?
What? Oh no, no! It's a door painted on the wall.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, no, 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 not like that. But first, before we begin, this normally only works for one person, so I had to prepare ahead of time. A little something. And she holds out what looks like a torque.
Oh, what is this?
A torque. No, what it is, base is of no consequence. I have prepared it ahead of time with my VTM to allow something that shouldn't be possible to be possible. Namely, for you to travel with me. Well, put it on. It's not cursed or anything like that, I assure you.
Pius would put it on.
Good. Very good. You don't really catch what she does to the so-called painting of a door. You don't really catch the words that are half mumbled in the wind, but what you do catch is the yawning abyss that seems to open in its place.
Oh shit.
Pitch black shadows and the like. Well, what are you waiting for? Come on. We need to enter together, or this won't work at all for you.
Do I hold your hand?
Yes, that would probably some sort of skin contact would work best.
He would grip her hand. Oh, I was gonna bear hug her, but I thought that no.
Hmm.
He'll grab her hand.
Come on then. And with that, you are pulled through this strange entryway, this strange portal. Cold and wet is what this strange void and shadow feels like. Cold, wet, the stench of decaying things, mildew perhaps, or something else entirely. When you've moved through, and are on the other side, you open your eyes to something very, very different. You were standing in an alleyway. You are still standing in an alleyway, but the buildings around look entirely different. Older, and someone plopped a bunch of antiques in the middle of the city.
Oh, are we? What's that place called? The Vale, or where's that?
Welcome to
The
the
net-
Shadowlands.
There you go. Yeah, we're in the Shadowlands.
Shh. Careful. Keep that excited voice down. Try not to do anything to stand out. The wraiths can see us here just as we can see them. Fortunately, by the fact that we are dead, unlike other intruders into the Shadowlands, we do not stand out as not wraiths. We look particularly solid for wraiths, perhaps. Particularly new, but not untoward. Not like, say, a mortal mage that decided to bring themselves here. Welcome to Seattle as it appears in the memories of the living population of the planet. As it is remembered by the dead.
This place is quiet.
Sorry, I don't have a background for this.
Oh, it's fine.
I figured that though you're not quite advanced enough for it yet, that this would be a exciting change of pace rather than staying cooped up in my study down below. A case exhibit of things that await. Now, when wandering in the Shadowlands, you must take great care, not just to keep the fact that you're not a wraith to your mum and quiet and many hints otherwise, but also aware of the dangers. For while we are here, we are every bit as susceptible to their own gifts and powers as we would be if we were just another wraith. We are dead, after all. And some wraiths, or dare I say specters, are quite vengeful.
And can they follow us back out?
Oh, no, they can't follow us back out. They can shift over into the living realm, but that would be a whole nother mess for them to be able to manifest properly.
Mhm.
And even if they did, do you really think that I'm going to be bothered by a wraith? I have any number of ways to get rid of one. Some of them particularly yummy. Yummy, that's a thing people say now, yes?
Well, sure.
Yummy, yummy. Why yummy? I'll put it bluntly, I eat them. Or can eat them if I need to.
Lynette, do you like prepare all these things ahead of time? Like how long have you been doing this for to where you just have these things at the ready?
Oh, I prepared this one for tonight, the last couple of nights. The door painted in place, and obviously the little torque you wear now to keep you to walk with me. Normally, the ability I used only allows for the one that opens it to walk through the door.
Hmm.
And while I have ways to get through to get here without having to deal with doors, that is the one that I found the most easy with which to bring you tag along in, without, of course, stranding you in here forever. You show promise. I don't want to lose you permanently to the Shadowlands.
That's good to know.
Hmm. Not to worry. But while we are here, you're going to have a lesson on wraiths and specters. Seems a good place to have it. A field trip, as I said before. I believe that's a thing that schools do these days, or institutions where kids go for education, children go for education. Hmm.
I never liked school.
You didn't? Oh, hmm.
I was
Back in
always
my
picked on.
day, it was always there were no real schools or institutions other than monasteries. And those children that did get to learn things were usually the children of wealthy merchants or the nobility. Getting to learn to read and write, that was perhaps the greatest upside of being taken by my sire, alongside my friend.
I've just had a long mortal life. And I'm still young.
How old are you? I mean, mortally speaking. I mean, age gets kind of funny when you're, well, more past your third century or so.
Oh man, how old was Pius? Like 27?
In his 20s, yes.
He was in his 20s. I'm to be honest, I'm not too sure. I never really celebrated my birthdays past my 18th birthday, which that was fun.
Hmm. We celebrated name days when I was growing up. And it
Yeah,
wasn't uncommon for children to not receive a name until they were a year or two old to make sure they weren't just about to die quickly. Infant mortality was quite high back then. Hmm.
I'm sorry they had to live in such a quick life and this quick time frame.
Oh, don't be. I mean, granted, at the time it was hell, and at the time it was torturous, especially when I had my first arm eaten, then one of my legs, and, well, so on. But obviously I'm here now.
You were mortal when they ate you?
Well, yes, my sire had a rule. For any question we sought to ask outside of our tutoring time, if the price would be paid in flesh.
Oh. And Pius would seal his mouth.
Hmm. I see it frightens you, startles you, perhaps unnerves you. As a young girl, it was horrifying. But the one thing I had then that I still have now, for certainly, is my sense of curiosity. But eventually, I had paid too much. and my sire was only ever going to choose one child to embrace. And so that went to the still intact body of my friend, who had long since stopped being my friend.
Is your old friend still alive?
Obviously not, she was embraced.
Well, eternally. Have they met like the eternal death?
She smiles. Well, she's certainly not here anymore, is she?
Pius would smile back.
You see, when I died, I was filled with enough agony and other passion emotions that I didn't stay dead, or at least I didn't die. I was here, like one of them. She points to one of the wraithly individuals moving about in the distance. Sounds
Wait.
impossible, doesn't it?
Well, I've seen quite a bit since I've been in Embrace, so I guess nothing's impossible now.
You see, at the time, I couldn't even begin to grasp the full extent of my sire's ambitions and his project. He might have embraced my former friend, but she was never his choice. You see, he had heard things. The entire 20 years he spent teaching us and preparing us was all a large experiment. But to someone already 500 years old, 20 years wasn't very long at all. It is possible, if a foolhardy vampire wanders into the shadowlands of weak enough will, to be overpowered by one of the residents here. As I did, my friend, eventually, once I figured it out, and I didn't understand until then, until that moment that I tore my way back into the living world, why my sire, who had clearly noticed me, did nothing, not to capture me, or to enslave me, or to eat me, but let me persist and so near his clearly mentally fatiguing child. Only after he found me back in the waking world, after amidst the carnage and gore of my first feeding. Ironic, considering that I was my friend's first feeding. That was how I died.
Oh,
Hmm. Fledgling Nagaraja are very, very hungry when we come into being, whether that's by embrace or by possession. So now I am here, an impossibility, a wraith in vampire's skin. I can enter the Shadowlands and back as easily as a wraith might. You cannot, thus the need for the doorway and the talk.
you never cease to amaze me.
It's rare. I have had somewhere in the realm of 100 Nosferatu students over the centuries. You are only the 52nd one I have shared this story with. So I
I'm.
suppose a little over half, in some sense.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But
I
again,
find
at
you
least
fascinating.
I'm glad. But that secret is one that could get me killed. Particularly by certain entities in the Sabbat, or at least allied with the Sabbat.
No,
Which
your
is why I
secret's
don't
safe with me.
generally seek them out. Hmm. All right, I was supposed to teach you a lesson. I got sidetracked. How unnaturally emotional of me. Hmm. Right. Well, wraiths. Between first-hand experience and my own studies, wraiths, when they die, the majority of the persona, the majority of the psyche forms what is known as the psyche, the governing consciousness of wraith, a wraith entity. However, the other parts of them, the very worst parts of that person, unrestrained by any masking of humanity or affection, manifest in what is known as the what is known as the shadow. The dark whisperings always at the back of any wraith's mind. It is not a pleasant experience. As to what happens if they listen to those whispers, well, they become those things over there. It's kind of hard to see them from here, actually. This necropolis does a good job in pushing them away. Basically, they become not themselves, and the whole thing becomes flipped with the shadow being the main persona and the psyche being the whispers in the back. Not a good thing. Not a great thing, but it's fact. Still, perhaps I've kept you enough for this evening. Should we be returning?
How long can we stay in this place for?
Oh, a good long while. I could stay pretty much forever, aside from needing to feed. You, wandering too deep in here, even as a master necromancer, could result in you being lost. So you must always take care on entering the shadow through the scenario into the Shadowlands.
Mhm. Then let us be on our way.
Hmm. All right then. Hold tight. It's not long before you are back in the safety of her study, back through the wet and cold and decay into the somehow much brighter seeming world of nighttime Seattle. And down into the depths again, of course.
Back into the Warrens.
Of course. I hope your studies continue. You show a lot of promise, especially for one who doesn't have such gifts innately by blood.
I'm gonna put my mind to it, and I'll figure it out somehow.
In the meantime, though, I have some more traditional lessons for us to go through before I send you away.
Hmm.
I think it's past time you learned how to see things properly. And with that, we will cut away as your lesson gets to the more boring bits.
Okay.
Hmm.
She's gonna give you special eyes.
She gonna make me scream.
Hmm. In fairness, the thing Lynette is and has is a 5-point merit in the Lore of the Bloodlines book. Not for her bloodline, but technically it's applicable to any necromancer that spends enough time in the Shadowlands. So,
Oh,
yay.
nice.
It's kind of potent for what it does, aside from putting a death mark on your head.
Oh, jeez.
Because the Harbingers of the Skulls will know exactly what it is you are if they see you through Auspex, and they have like a kill on sight sort of mentality for it.
Crap. Okay.
But mechanically, it allows you to go to and from the Shadowlands with a willpower point, just a willpower point immediately, and halves the cost of all secondary paths of necromancy.
Okay.
Well, after the first dot and a secondary path still cost 7. Sorry, I like to showcase my old characters. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, that's good to know. In any case, I believe we come to Ashley's second interlude. These are taking longer than I thought they would, but I hope everyone's enjoying them.
It's fun.
I am amused.
It's been a while.
I,
Oh,
I,
You've been a
I,
while.
I bet at least half of his enjoyment is just not having to be in the spotlight most of the time. Okay, so we do come to Ashley. Let me just take a drink. Ah, Ashley. Let's see. One moment. Yeah, that was nasty. Anyway, a new night. So, thankfully, let me switch things back over to where they should be. Oop. So, thankfully, one without your sire scheduling you for any sort of additional extracurricular activities. Sue's busy. Theo wasn't until his sire dragged him away for something. I'm not sure if he's in trouble or not, or if his sire simply needed his assistance. You're working on learning a new ritual. This one's giving you a bit of a headache, and the Chantry's available copy of it requires at least 3 languages, so most of the work you has been translating with the help of some other tomes. Not for the first time, you wonder if there's easier to understand versions deeper in the library. Perhaps the extra effort is just an unsaid part of your training and instruction. Or maybe you're just getting a touch cynical. Your thoughts, however, are interrupted by the arrival of one Tobias Reynolds. The child, though admittedly for Tobias, the child vampire is considerably older than Sue and Theo. Studying well.
Oh, hey. Trying. I'm struggling here, but I'm getting there.
Had to take a break.
Sure. And Ashley will slam all the books shut. This stuff's giving me a headache. Though I didn't realize that was a possibility. Still.
I know the feeling. I'm attending a charity auction tonight, and was hoping you wouldn't be too perturbed with the idea of playing older sister or perhaps cousin. Yes, the girl normally tasked with playing the role of my uncle and chaperone has been tasked with other things relating to the conflict.
Yeah. Sure, I'll attend with you.
Ah, good. I was worried for a moment. See, there's an item they have listed. Some old leather tome that's falling apart. Supposedly, it used to belong to a local collector of oddities who recently died, and his estate has added it to the auction in a liquidation of assets for specific charities. No proper heirs, I believe. Reportedly, it's from Eastern Europe. Late Middle Ages, early Renaissance, that sort of thing. Officially, it's the writings of some literate pagan, but some of the pictures caught my eye, and it could be more.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
I hope so. Regent Steel has afforded us with a certain budget, but I doubt anyone's going to be able to beat even half of it, so we should be fine.
Okay. I don't want to even know.
Will you be able to be ready to go in, say, 15 minutes?
Easily. I will go get changed right now. What kind of attire is it?
Semi-formal to formal. If you have a decent dress, that would probably be best. If you
S-
don't, well, we can make do with whatever.
Would a suit work?
I mean, if you have one, sure.
Okay, I got one. I'll go put it on. And then she'll run
I
off
like
and
how
do
even though
that.
Ashley has at least one nice dress, she doesn't want to wear it. I vaguely remember her wearing it at some point in this campaign. I just don't know when.
I don't know. I know she's worn a suit a couple times now.
I just remember there being a green dress. Maybe I'm misremembering.
It's probably in her pile of stuff. I'm sure she has a dress. I think I put it in her outfit ideas or whatever they are. Maybe. I don't know. There's probably a dress somewhere.
Yep. It doesn't matter. Either or. I was just making sure I wasn't misremembering, you know. Well, apparently I might be. Oh well. But you have an auction to get ready for.
Yep. So she'll run on upstairs and get changed.
Theo's waiting near the garages when you're done. A ghoul that can't be relied on to be a proper chaperone is waiting to drive you to your destination, and for when you call to be picked up. But other than that, you two will be on your own.
Can she see the wraith this night, or should I roll for that?
You can see it, but it's like lurking like well outside the normal exit point of the chantry.
Okay, just
Seems
want
to keep its distance from the chantry, like well beyond even the protections.
good. Just want to make sure she can keep an eye on it.
Of course.
It's becoming a second shadow.
Hmm. You're looking for something.
Oh, just my buddy. I have a buddy that's been following me for a bit now.
You have a stalker? Should I alert security?
I don't think security
Is
could
this-
do anything about it right now.
I mean, I realize they are just ghouls, but the chantry security team is quite competent.
Can they fight a wraith?
Oh, I don't think so. At least not the ones here. I mean, the ones at Vienna probably have something, but I don't think we have anything that specialized.
Didn't think so.
Beyond, of course, the wards regarding the exterior of the chantry. I mean, I'm sure they could fight it if it bothered to properly manifest, but I get the feeling you're saying it's not. So I
No.
certainly don't see anything.
Yeah, no, he's not manifesting. Or it's not manifesting.
Hmm. Well, the same. I guess I know to be mum about anything we're talking about tonight.
Yes, at least until we get back to the safety of the chantry.
Hmm.
Anything you don't want the stalker to relay
Who
back
owns
to.
it?
I'm not sure, but I have an idea that it's the Giovanni.
Hmm. Makes sense. I mean, I'm not aware of any other necromancers in the city, but good to know. I mean, I'm well learned, but unfortunately, I have nothing to deal with a wraith.
I've just been dealing with it and watching my mouth. Even though I got some choice words for its owner.
I'm sure. Well, they shouldn't be bothering us beyond stalking. If they do, that would be a problem, and Regent Steel would be furious.
Maybe we'd
I've heard
actually be able to
he
do
would
something
that.
about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, until then, charity event, right? We don't want to be late. I don't want to be outbid before we're even there. I mean, I shouldn't be so nervous, but I swear I've seen writing like that once before. Hmm.
What kind of writing is this?
Eastern European, specifically where I guess modern day Lithuania and northern Poland would be.
Interesting.
How well learned are you in the clan's history?
Decent, but not too far back. Still in my studies.
Well, back in the old times, not long after the clan's founding, or suppose where at least where our records begin. That's height of the Middle Ages, I believe. Just past the 1000 mark or something. One of the various chantries that spread across Europe and went into its own way ended up in there, the pagan lands of Northeast Europe. There, they, well, continued their study of blood magic, but along the way, they started to see themselves less as kindred and more as local gods, because as that was what the local populations chose to worship them as. And they kind of, at some point along the way, I think they started to believe it too. Or perhaps they just saw an avenue of lording it over those around them. Eventually, these, as they came to be known, Teleavonic Tremere, split from the chantry entirely, and I'm stripped from the clan entirely, and stopped following the council's orders. Naturally, when it became clear that they would no longer obey or sought to desire to stay with the pyramid, actions had to be taken, and the Televonic Tremere were eventually purged. The last one, known to be alive, was reported to have been slain in 1619, I believe. But what I'm getting at is the Televonic Tremere, in their time alone, and largely cut off by choice from the clan, developed some of their own branches of thaumaturgy. Branches long since lost to us now. I think the writing style reminds me similarly of scraps I saw in the Vienna Chantry. And out of character, Vienna is the Chantry of Chantries. It's the Tremere headquarters, so to speak.
Yep.
If so, well, I mean, it's a long shot, like less than 1%, but my hopes are high for even a chance like this.
Well, let's go and get that book.
Yes, let's. The event ends up taking place at a sort of gala area, somewhere in the University District, undoubtedly. A district whose streets you've become quite familiar with of late. Event goes reasonably smoothly enough. There's not too much in the way of hindrances. Someone else does try to bid for it, like 3 other people, but none of them go nearly as high enough to be able to stop you. Judging by the way Tobias's grin widens at the end of it, you were nowhere near close to reaching the end of the budget he was given by Mr. Steele. You receive it at the end in a very protective case. And Tobias is almost reverent as he holds out in front of him as you'll return to the vehicle where it's supposed to be waiting. But it's only as you're walking back, a successful auction purchase behind you, that you see it. By all odds, you shouldn't have. Perhaps it's supernatural level of senses, or the auguries of fate. One of the nearby telephone poles, festooned with papers and flyers, draws your attention. A flash of something familiar, impossible. You walk over without realizing what you're doing, Tobias only following behind after realizing you're no longer behind him. On the surface, a waterlogged and wind-whipped adverts for garage sales, special events, missing pets. Your hands dig deeper, you know you saw something. The layers are many and deep, visible only when the wind picks them up, each one more sun-bleached and weather-worn than the last. But it's when you reach what you thought you saw, it's near the bottom. By all accounts, it should have long since fallen, and even now it's faded and almost into ineligibility. The picture alone would be something you would doubt you would be able to even make out or figure out who it was. If, of course, you hadn't seen it before. An possibly faded photo aged just past post-18 smiles back at you. A photo of you. One of, or perhaps the last one, taken by Connor, with a dinky little disposable camera he got on an impulse. Above it, while digits are missing, you recognize your uncle, your godfather's phone number. Right below the words, "Have you seen this girl?"
Ashley will pull it off the pole and just kind of stare down at it in shock.
It's impossible to know how long it's been here, even with the weather and the rain being so far deep, so far covered up. Perhaps it could have been here for even a few years.
She'll take it back with her towards Tobias in the car and just keep staring at it as she goes.
What's that flyer?
It's
Find something you want to buy?
Well, she'll turn it around and she'll show Tobias. It's me.
What? But, I mean, you're dead now. You should, shouldn't your sire have covered everything up? I mean, why is there anyone looking for you?
It's my uncle's number that's on here. So I don't know.
Well, you shouldn't call it.
Mm,
Do you have
of
any idea
course.
how much of a breach that would be?
Oh, I'm not planning on calling him. I haven't talked to him since I ran away and moved out. So he must have kept calling after I disappeared.
Well, how do you want to handle it? I doubt Regent Steel would be happy about it, but I'm sure he would work to cover it up or find out whatever's going on. I mean, that could get messy, though. Personal experience.
I should probably bring it to Dr. Thorne's attention.
Well, he is the one that should have ensured it never happened to begin with. But it's your decision, and I will respect it.
I didn't even know I was. Well, I mean, I guess I don't really know what I thought. I just, woke up in the chantry and I just haven't thought about anything since. Got a few of my things from my apartment. I didn't really have anybody but my uncle. So it shouldn't have been that hard to cover me up.
Returning to the Chantry with more than a few questions. And of course, your sire is not present. Why would he be? I mean, he's usually. It's sometimes hard to get in touch with him when you want to talk to him most. But maybe you don't even want to talk to him right away. Maybe it's just something you'd prefer to think about. So many questions. Echoing about in your head. Which brings us to our next group. Out of character. I originally had something else planned for that slot, but I thought of that one when I was rereading your memory section. Hope I'm not violating canon there.
Nope, that's perfectly
Yeah.
fine. It's there for you.
Damn little slot.
What?
I get you, David.
That damn little slot. Such a dirty slot.
What?
Don't think too
Nothing.
deeply on it.
There's just switch out
It's-
one letter. Just switch out a letter.
Replace
Dave's,
the O with a U.
Dave's off in the
What are
Shadowlands.
you calling a dirty slot?
Oh, you said something about a slot, so I was like, that damn slot.
Oh, I meant like the slot of this interlude. Ashley Interlude 2.
That interlude
I'll-
slot.
I'll be right back. I need to dash to the bathroom because I've been drinking a lot.
Oh, then we definitely got to bring the slots on. Non-chibi 2D fighting games is hard, Nick.
I'm sorry, wait, what?
The, learning how to do a non-chibi 2D fighter is hard.
I said you could do a Chibi 2D fighter. You didn't have to go like full blown models.
I'll go full-blown models.
Goofball.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have like Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue with like Fate Stay. Same with like Under Night Birth. Have those four kind of do a thing. I might just do like Fate mixed with Under Night Birth
Yeah.
and just call it like Undermoon because it's like, because isn't Moon or whatever the company that does Fate
Type Moon.
Type Moon, yeah. Someone call it like Undermoon or Under Type Moon or something like that. Under Type Moon Rebirth or something. I don't know.
Type Moon is also the name of the primordial vampire in Fate.
Nice. Oh,
Like,
and
because the planets and the other things have basically a central wheel called a type. Like,
mhm.
you know, type Mercury, type Venus, whatever. Type Moon's case, it's a hunger for blood and so on, so that's where their vampires come from.
Nice.
But Type Moon lore is like just a very complicated web I don't want to get into or we'll be here for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was simpler before Fate Grand Order, but not simple.
It's never been simple.
In any case, we bring ourselves around to Olivia. Olivia, you could not be happier. You could not be happier. One moment.
How dare you assume her happiness?
I very well will. Yes.
You misgendered my moods.
You could not without waking up. You could not be happier. Not without waking up, of course. You have sweet leather outfits, an awesome bike to ride, and a crazy cool street race to prepare for. Between that and occasional early morning animal onesie movie nights with Lyra, life is good. Even in spite of shadows looming on the horizon, those are problems from the future, Olivia. Assuming she hasn't woken up by then, of course.
Yeah.
Night and Moment finds you in the Devil's Footstool, sitting at the bar on one of the stools that never match any of the others. For once, there are people here. There is. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll. Boop. A rather exuberant Brie Nelson. That was weird. One moment. I'm going to close that and reopen it. Okay, I just had a bug where it literally moves like the interior of the sheet. Like it's hard to describe. I'm just gonna put it off to
Yeah.
the side and fix it later. Let's see, where was I? From there's an exuberant Brie Nelson, though her sire, the Bruja Primogen, is nowhere to be seen. There is Echo, the girl you met at Blue a few nights ago, is here as well, playing her music over the sound system with Lyra's permission and banging her head to it. Let's see. There is also she's sitting next to her sire Jabber, the man that customized your bike for you.
Ooh.
As paid for by Lyra. The largely happier, excited vibes, even as the movie on TV is largely ignored, it is only somewhat mellowed out by the presence. Scroll down, scroll down. Of one Mark Flowers, the unusually taciturn Bruja Anarch. Lyra herself. Oop, oop. I need to do something to simplify this. Lyra herself is dressed in a barkeeper outfit that's drastically less neon than the rest of the room. Not that her outfit isn't neon and filled with more colors in the rainbow, so much as there's just that much neon here. Despite the fact that no one really orders any drinks, your sire has a happy and entirely wholesome look of cheer on her face as she endlessly polishes a glass you are certain she dirtied the night before just so she could do this now. Your thoughts on your sire's preparedness to pretend to be a bartender aside, those thoughts are interrupted by, "How's the ride holding up, kid?" from Jabber seated next to you.
Oh, she's just gonna go off and be like so excited and tell him how good it is and that she signed up for some races and everything.
Sign yourself up for a race. Well, the only bike races I know are run down by the, what are they called? Thunder Dogs. Thunder Dogs. That's where my sire hangs out with their lot. Paul Ramon. Maybe you've met him while you're down there.
I don't think so, not yet.
Yeah, I think it was only Alvin that actually met with him while y'all were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he's for an Anarch, he's kind of a stick in the mud with how much he wants you to support the Anarchs. Hey, Mark, he says, looking back at Mr. Flowers, who gives him a look of entirely unamusement and entirely, well, nothing, before turning his attention back to the rest of the happenings as well as the movie.
Maybe he needs a ride on my bike.
Jabber will lean over, whisper in your ear. Careful, there's some of that slang for other things, depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
Oops. Well, that's not what I meant. I just meant like maybe he needs the wind in his hair.
Why don't you come and turn my throttle?
Hmm. I think my sire tried that once, like literally whipped down the road at like 200 plus miles an hour and didn't phase him a bit.
Jokes on
Something about a
Olivia. Paul
bet.
doesn't have hair.
Was Olivia just going to take that as a challenge then?
Oh yeah.
But he's all right. I mean, he doesn't speak much. He's quiet, and I don't think his face ever leaves that expression. But he's reliable.
There you go.
Really odd for a Brewhaw, though.
Yeah.
He glances briefly at Jabber. Clearly, he hears it, but he just focuses attention back on, well, either the movie or the others. I'm not sure which. It might be both.
Yeah. I am so sorry. I'm out of it.
You're fine. You're fine. But we can go ahead and skip some of that if you want. And
That's up to
well,
you.
you have a bike. You're learning how to drive it, how to ride it. What would you say to a lesson on how to keep it going?
Yeah. I'd like all the lessons I can get. I want to get better.
Sure, let's go upstairs, leave them to their movie.
I'm game for
Echo
that.
seems to step up, and as if she's going to fall. No, no, stay here, kiddo. Just me and this one.
Oh, she can't join? Maybe she could use some fresh air.
Listen, as much as I love my daughter in blood, she's not the mechanic type. It would get really distracting if she came with.
Okay, fair.
Because when she turns on that music, I just get distracted. I just want to bang my head to it, kind of like she always does. But if I'm doing that, I can't be focusing on working bikes or teaching someone to work on bikes.
Well, it is your child, so I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, not the worst sire child problems.
Yeah.
Far from it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. That goes a good
And just
one.
for you, we will cut to y'all being up there and then cut our way back to Alvin, who has to take the stage again somewhat early.
Nope, nope. You got to finish with her scene. Nope.
He's going to.
I thought we did.
Yeah.
Kind of cut ahead for you because you weren't like, you're not feeling well. So I cut ahead of it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad because reasons.
Yeah. Follow your
Wonder
fucking
if anyone.
dreams.
Mhm.
All right.
Got my eyes on you.
Alvin. I may switch back to typical places. It's a busy time, micromanaging or influencing mortals in such a way that they don't pay too much attention to it, and that keeps them safe. Whether this sense comes from a desire to protect, or something more selfish, keep what's yours, matters little. Your sister and her circle, the members of the Rotary Club, your own shop, whether you originally wanted it or not, matters little now, it's yours. And both it and the people that run it definitely need protection of some variety. Even the rest of the street and the people that live on it. Is it because you care? Perhaps because you're possessive, or just the inconvenience it would be to your operation plans going forward. What are Alvin's thoughts on his actions and desires?
You're asking legitimately?
Yeah.
Man, that means I have to start showing hands. Part of it's plans for the future. Most of it is that he still believes in humanity over vampirism.
Indeed, indeed. Still, that seems reasonably well. Hopefully, we'll extend to being open during nighttime hours all too soon. It's middle of the night now, and you're almost alone in the business part of the building. Everyone that can has gone home, even Joshua to his new apartment, one above the comic cellar. Lucy's around, but in the basement lounge. By the sounds you hear distantly, she's playing that game on her laptop again. Duke Nukem, you believe it was.
Good choice.
A rare game in the 90s that was computer only. Early 90s specifically. Hmm. Mhm. But as for you, well, you're still up here working on things. Normally, you might use your office, but you've been up here lately. Perhaps even because of the unseen threat lurking about. It's even odder now, not having the rest of the coterie about. For over a week, you were all together pretty much every night without fault. Now, everyone's doing one thing or another. On the other hand, despite any stress from preparing for the worst, at least you're not cleaning up after messes or mistakes, or having to figure out what to tell Joshua about the latest damaged door or wall. Positive upsides to look to. Your thoughts, such as they are interrupted by a knock at the door.
Front or back?
Front.
Glance at the tinted windows.
You find the rather familiar face, albeit somewhat soaked, of Rocco standing outside.
I'll open the door. Let him in.
Thank you, man. It's been wet tonight.
I can see. Do you need to tell?
I'm not interrupting anything, am I? I mean, no, people are really busy these nights. Something about some assholes coming to town. I mean, they said something about war at the meeting, but yeah.
Yeah, we're just closed for the evening. Though soon this place will likely see even some nightlife going on. No, you're not
Yeah.
interrupting anything.
No kidding. Night. What are you gonna do? Is it gonna just be coffee at night, or like a I don't know, Waffle House or something?
God, I miss Waffle House.
Heart attack on a plate?
Yeah, I wish. That's mm, that is the one thing that I really miss. While I can still taste food and, partake, doesn't hit the same way that it did before.
Really? It just tastes like ash to me. I mean, I can swallow it if I really try, but
I think it's some cruel little joke of my embrace. There are things that taunt me. While I can partake and enjoy to a certain degree, I have to regretfully excise it later.
hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah. I'm not sure whether to be jealous of you or feel sorry for you.
there's a it's an extra level of pain sometimes, but it's
Well,
useful.
isn't life always like that?
I'm gonna do for you, Rocco. It's not often you come on over.
Yeah, I've been meaning to come over more often, or at the very least earlier than this, but after everything that went down, I've been running errands from this part to that part to get this thing to get that thing. My sire hasn't really let me any time to myself.
Bit of a slave driver, is he?
Yeah, I don't know if that's how he is to all of his underlings, or if he just takes that grudge with me specifically.
Any worse than boot camp, though?
He gives it a thought. He really gives it a thought. Yeah, sometimes. Depends on the night.
Ah, come on. Let's take a seat. I'll get you that towel.
Ah, thanks. Sorry to make a mess.
Not anything I'm not used to. It rains a lot here. You kind of learn to keep towels on hand.
You think any of those frickin' Tremere are manipulating the weather like that?
No, not really. And if they were, that'd be kind of curious.
I mean, supposedly they can. It's like something to do with their blood sorcery or the like. That's what my sire says, anyway.
Hmm.
And while he's many things, he's usually well informed.
Who knows? Maybe I'll have to poke about and figure it out for myself, but it's not anything I'm necessarily too concerned about. I'm not a person that really hates on the rain.
Hmm. Well, I guess I'll just have to get used to it. At least I can't catch a chill to my death or nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose there is that. Can't have your parents yelling at you to put a coat on or you catch a cold.
No, nothing like that.
You know what
Kind
happened
of
with
miss
your
that, though.
folks?
Sorry, what'd you say?
Do you know what happened to your folks after your whole change?
Living happily off some sort of fund for accidental death, I believe.
Hmm.
Technically, they weren't supposed to get that much, but I saved up, set that aside, and just had it be delayed by the courts when I sent it their way.
So they're at
My
least doing
sire gave
okay
me
for
hell for
themselves.
that.
Fuck him. There's still people that they made us kind of leave. Therefore, I don't see it as necessarily a problem to make sure that they're at least taken care of.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I try. Sorry, I just needed to get away from, well, from home, or such as I call it. This seemed about the only place I could think of beyond, well, Elysium. In Elysium, everyone gives me the side eye for being Giovanni.
Well, they don't exactly have the greatest reputation from what I hear.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know.
What is your
Some,
boss's deal anyway?
you mean besides complaining about not being his chosen child?
Yeah, besides that.
I think he's, well, his eyes for a moment flicker black as he looks around. Well, and then they flicker back to normal. Well, at least I'm not being followed, so I suppose I can speak a little more freely. Seems to be spreading his fillies out, keeping tabs on everything. By fillers, I of course mean wraiths, like dozens of the fuckers.
Really?
Yeah, it's normally how Clan Giovanni works for its information network.
I'm sure you've probably gotten little droplets of information every once in a while when he's probably mad that people are cursing him out.
Yeah, every so often. Especially like that. Well, forgive my French, but that bitch he's always looking for.
I see. Any particular description on said bitch?
Yeah, she's Clan Tremere, I think. Okay, I know. I know she's Clan Tremere. don't really like them all that much. Beyond that, shoot, she's obviously a she, reasonably youngish, I think, teens or early 20s. Keeps a raven with her, like a stuffed raven, I think, but a raven. Odd choice.
Huh. And what's your take on your little, sire's crusade?
Well, obviously, I fucking hate it. I mean, he's probably just gonna replace me if he ever actually gets what he wants. Assuming getting what he wants doesn't mean just final deathing those people. Which would be a long shot even from him. I mean, the kind of political disasters that could lead to. I'm not even an expert. I'm just initiating this shit.
Andrew, I'm gonna break, silence for a minute. As a player, is there a mechanical way to equivalently sense motive within this game?
Oh, absolutely. That would usually be either perception or wits plus empathy.
Hmm. I think I would like
Empathy
to.
both works as the sense motive of this game as well as the social skill for empathizing with people.
I think I would like to take a stab at perception empathy, considering I have a mastery of insightful.
Absolutely. Add an extra dice. Extra die. Well, where exactly are you trying to learn with this roll? So I know to set the difficulty.
I am mostly trying to make sure that Rocco's being upfront and not trying to lead Alvin on or, use guile to kind of prod, Alvin for information.
Hmm. All right, I'll have to
I'm
make a GM roll to myself. I'd be making this whether he was lying to you or not, just so you would know I'm rolling dice.
mhm. Effectively, he's trying to make sure that Rocco is being sincere and isn't just kind of here poking about for information and the like.
Hmm. Fair enough.
This is perception empathy. So, what difficulty DC would you like?
We're gonna go with he's your friend. Yeah, I mean, you haven't seen him before now for like 5 years, but you spent a lot of time with him before then. So we'll keep it to a difficulty 7. So not easy, but easier for you than it would be for someone else.
Mhm.
Ooh, nicely done.
That's a
Oh,
4.
that is indeed a 4. You can tell that he does know something more than he's letting on, but at the same time, he really is here to vent and get away from, well, back home. His primary purpose is as he tells it to you, to vent. But he does know more information than he's otherwise telling you.
Considering you just checked to see whether or not you could be a bit candid in your conversation, what's in the back of your mind that you're not telling me? I can tell when something's bothering you.
How much you know about Clan Tremere?
I have a cursory understanding of their operations and how they handle their inducted.
Hmm. Fuck. Well, according to my sire, they're not even like a real clan, or something like that. Or at least they weren't originally.
You're gonna have to elaborate for me on that.
have you ever like been told like shit? The old fuck calls it amaranth.
I know the normal definition for such a thing.
Well, the vampire definition is basically to eat another fucking vampire.
Yeah, all right. So,
Like
no, I
down to the soul, apparently. I mean, I don't know if it's really like that, or if it's just some fancy word for like whatever like last dregs of blood the vampire has, but there you go. Supposedly, Clan Tremere came on the scene back in like the Middle Ages, and well, let's just say they weren't originally a clan, but they ate like the founder of another clan, and they became a clan.
okay.
Treacherous soul suckers, a lot of them. And of course, they got their whole blood cult thing going on. I mean, obviously, Giovanni doesn't have the best rep either, but goodness. Can't say I trust them. And I know you got one in whatever forced coterie going on together the prince gave y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you to be careful. I mean, careful who you trust about that.
I'm going to ask you this, Rocco.
You've-
How do you feel about being taken away from your family without even a drop of consideration?
It's fucking annoying and angry and furious.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sorry, but regardless of the kindred's history of clan formations or otherwise, not a single one of these fuckers is clean. This is a very warped way of extending the species. It's a series of kidnappings, murders, and honestly just aggression to the mortal species as it stands. They keep their masquerade in order to keep themselves from going extinct because they're worried about the potential that the living yet still has.
Did you go and get religious on me while I was gone?
No, but I find it highly annoying when I can't go and, just openly chat with the people that I did care about. You know how shitty it is to basically be stuck in a room for 5 years listening to the droning of history you honestly couldn't give two fucks about? All to know that the thing that you did train for, willingly, to defend the country from threats in and out, has now just effectively kidnapped you and inducted you into a cult of their own design, now sworn to secrecy.
4 years. Well,
Annoying.
for me, it was 4 years. But yeah, I get you.
We chose to join the military. That was a choice for something that we actually cared about.
You know, it seemed like an easy way to get my college education, and of course, once I was in there, it was kind of hard to leave.
You're right. But it was worth something. This was just, hey, you've got potential, or something that I need. Gonna snag you regardless. No ask, no buy in, just stalking and kidnapping. Can't say I
See where,
necessarily like the practice.
yeah, I definitely see where you're going with it, and I agree with most of it. But at the same time, I mean, just be careful, okay?
I plan to. And for the record, some of the Tremers don't exactly have their own choice in it nowadays as well. You're basically looking at those that are living with the sins of their foreparents.
Isn't that all this is? If you listen to the like scholar fuckers and the people that get real philosophical about it, I mean, it all goes back to brother killing brother with the whole first murder and all that.
Uh,
We're all just
uh,
carrying the weight of sins of Cain, assuming that guy even exists.
Well, regardless, pretty judgmental to just start looking at the freshly turned and expecting that they're just going to fall in line with the exact same cycle that the rest of the elders have thrown their lot in for.
Yeah,
You
well,
don't exactly like.
most of the rest of us don't exactly drink from like some sort of ceremonial blood cup and suddenly become a slave to an entire clan.
I hear ya, but I don't think that all of them have.
Out of character, Ashley has.
Alvin doesn't know that.
Hmm. Well, any further conversation is interrupted. The quiet pitter-patter of the rain outside is also interrupted, both by the sound of a car. Not unheard of, even now, but it is a nice one, if very business-looking. What could have only earned it a passing glance instead gets your full attention as it comes to a stop outside the front of the Daily Bagel. Perhaps internally, you brace yourself, wondering who it is now. You have a history now of anyone arriving in serious-looking cars leading to stressful encounters. Someone you know?
Won't know until they decide to walk up to the door, but this isn't the first time to say the least. They really need to start coming through the back or else they're going to start drawing attention.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of your neighbors are still awake.
I know there's a few that are awake.
Hmm.
Alvin will be sure to kind of peer out the window.
It's the rain is coming down, and there is an umbrella opened up. But even from here, it doesn't take you long to recognize the occupant walking towards your door. Hmm. Specifically, Seneschal Miller.
Curious. He looks to Rocco, has him continue to remain seated, and kind of opens the door for Danielle Miller.
There's a bodyguard, but actually two of them, but they're both back by the car. Baldric, and her eyes focus on Rocco for a moment. Bellini and Giovanni. Hmm.
What can I
Hope the
do
night
for you,
finds you
Miss
well.
Miller?
May I come in?
Of course.
Wonderful.
It's most
She'll come in
curious.
and close the umbrella. Water does drip on the floor a bit, but perhaps subconsciously she tries and keeps it confined, closer to the door. Hmm.
What
It's
do
been
I
a
owe the
rough few
pleasure?
nights. Well, I'm here on official business. Normally we might sell it in the ghoul, or perhaps have an elaborate ceremony in the prince's own chambers, but times are what they are, and apparently we can't even rely on ghoul messengers these days.
So I've heard.
Apparently your sire lost one. They found his drained body in a dumpster not too far from what we know is Sabat territory.
Alvin nods to keep that in mind.
As a side effect of that, he was, according to Mr. Wayman, carrying a number of packages on him yet to be delivered, one of which was to this address. So, be careful in the future.
So it would appear.
Hmm. Well, fortunately, other than that dark news, I have better news for you. And she will reach down to a briefcase she is carrying and set it up on one of the standing or at least high-seated tables around you. Mr. Valdric, it is my pleasure to offer you this from the prince, she says, holding out a rolled scroll she pulls from the interior.
He'll take the scroll. Do you wish for me to open this now or hold on to this in more private company?
I'm not allowed to leave until you open it, so that depends on how much you trust Mr. Bellini.
Hmm. Alvin will kind of sidle up to the counter of the Daily Bagel where people would normally check out, kind of lean against it so that way he's the only one who's really reading the, scroll. Of course, he doesn't know if Rocco decided to bring a, wraith, but he'll kind of
Yeah,
crack it
only his
open.
word that there's no wraith here that he could see.
Mm-hmm.
If it helps it matters, Rocco doesn't seem to try and peek. He stays back where he was.
Mm-hmm. Alvin will
After
crack
all,
it
if he
open.
doesn't see it, his sire can't get it out of him, and he doesn't seem like he's minded to betray you unless he was being forced to.
Fair. Yeah, we'll crack it open.
The language is, of course, colorful and probably needlessly flamboyant, but it does boil down to something along the lines of Prince Woods hereby awards the territory of blah blah blah, your street, to one Alvin Valdric, to be kept as domain in the name of the city and Prince Edric Woods. Or formally, you gain a dot of domain that extends to the rest of the street, rather than just the
Interesting.
bagel.
Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that Alvin has deeds to each of the buildings.
Oh no, you have no control necessarily from this over the control of over the mortal world. But
Right.
in terms of vampire standpoints, it's all your territory.
Cool. Okay.
Which also means that if anyone is feeding here without your permission, you have full legal right to seek repercussions against them.
Good to know. I will probably have to get some more security over here to keep an eye on things.
Congratulations, Valdric. Prince has been rather pleased with your efforts thus far in recent weeks.
Alvin would nod. My thanks to Prince Woods.
I'll be sure that he hears it. A good evening, unless there were questions.
No, I think this is pretty cut and dry. My thanks, Miss Miller. It was a delightful surprise.
Of course. Your establishment looks better than I expected it to. Perhaps if you are open at night time, I might come peruse with your permission.
Hopefully soon in the coming months.
Until then, or Elysium. Good evening. And you as well, Mr. Bellini. Rocco just kind of nods awkwardly. He's had etiquette lessons recently, but he seems to be caught off guard by the seneschal, right hand of the prince, being here in this establishment.
After she leaves, Alvin's just kind of got a small smirk on his face.
Well, I take it it's good news. If you don't want to tell me, though, I'm not going to pry.
I'd prefer you not to have to, get me to come beat you up for breaking the rules. So, yeah. Just make sure that when you're doing your feeding, this street's not on your menu.
Got it. Not a word, mum. And if anything, I prefer bags anyway. It's kind of awkward feeding unless it's some asshole that really deserves to be in pain.
I hear you. Just the last time was full of
Yeah.
screaming and attention. I don't really want to
Yeah, I'm not
draw
sure
that.
if I told you, but you know how every bloodline or clan seems to have its own thing going on?
Yeah, that's yours. Yeah, we did discuss
Yeah.
that.
We don't make them feel good when we bite them. They feel in agony.
God, that's gotta suck.
It does. Figuratively and literally, of course.
Yeah, no, I've just been given permission, jurisdiction over this entire street.
Congratulations, buddy. At least your world's looking up. But I gotta get back to mine.
All right. Try not to get in too much trouble, and for all intents and purposes.
Right, right. Well, you'll probably see me soon enough, whenever this thing goes down.
Yeah.
Sire wants us to represent for the clan, and of course diplomatic treaties and all that.
One thing before you go.
Hmm?
I care about your well-being, but I want to make it crystal clear. If your sire starts some shit, and he messes with my ecosystem, there will be reparations.
Right, well, I know that. And if we're forced into a position where where I'm the one you're having to hammer their head in, do it quick and swap for me quickly, please.
I just want you to know that I'm still the same guy. There's a
Yeah.
fight, I'm gonna finish it, but I'm not gonna be the one to start it.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm mostly the same guy too, but it's been a rough 4 years. I kind of envy you. You were 5. Isolation doesn't seem too bad in comparison.
I hear you. Keep your chin clean. We'll see you again later.
See ya. And with that, we bring to the end of our interludes. Of course, Alvin isn't the only one getting a present. His is just the only one I worked directly into his interlude. Well, I won't normally be rewarding out things for time skips this small. And this is also partly because we've been inactive for a while, and because it makes sense. So while Alvin does get his dot and domain, the rest of you also get prezzies too.
Yay.
Specifically, let me go back to where I wrote those privately. Pious,
Mm-hmm.
you get a dot in the secondary necromancy path of the sepulcher path. Witness of death. Lets you see wraiths in the mortal world. But downside makes you physically blind to anything else while you're looking for wraiths. Upside, unlike Auspex, it only requires one very easy success. And no blood, I do believe.
Nice.
Let's see. Ashley, you get the level 1 ritual, Defense of the Sacred Haven. That's the one that keeps sunlight from entering an abode for a night, or a day, rather.
Nice.
As well as the level 3 ritual, Pavis of Foul Presence,
Yes.
which I believe you've had your eyes on.
Yeah, I was supposed to be working on it. Now I can put that in
Well,
my
in
ship.
case you were wondering, that was the one you were trying to read 3 different languages to figure out.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Olivia. Olivia, you get a dot in drive as well as a dot in craft with the mechanic specialty.
Nice.
What? Am I gonna have to have Olivia help me juice up the car?
Oh shit.
She's
I
only
don't.
got 1 dot in craft right now, so
Yeah,
you might.
I'm just saying, like, it might be a chancy thing to do, but if Olivia wants to get crafty,
You're going to enter. I bet the first time it happens, you're going to end up with a situation like when Pius took apart your computer or modem or whatever to build his frickin' thing that he then put aside and kind of forgot about.
What? No.
And then you'll be upset despite the fact you told her to do it.
I don't know. What do you think, Steph?
I'm just gonna use your car for spare parts for my motorcycle.
I can afford
Well,
another. It's
Well, I
fine.
had hoped to get to Awakenings tonight as well for the new night, but we ran longer than I expected. Not that that's a bad thing. I just hope everyone enjoyed the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was amused by the things that transpired.
Also enjoying the break and being able just to spectate for a while.
It's nice. It's fine. It has its advantages, but it's nice.
Well, in any case, we move on to experience. Obviously, you get your base one, and I'm never going to hold you back for the role-playing one. You all did wonderfully tonight. But, learning XP. What did y'all learn tonight? Starting with Alvin.
I was not aware that like Rocco and the Giovannis could just like flicker around and like check for wraiths like that. I guess it makes sense, but that was not on my bingo card.
That's a tier 1 necromancy power.
Huh.
Like, there's actually 2 different flavors. One allows for checking for wraiths in the material world, and one allows you to see into the Shadowlands.
Yeah, no, didn't have that on my bingo card, but I guess that does make sense. Beyond that, it's just the little revelations, ghouls going missing, basic stuff on that end.
Indeed. And future threats to prepare for, considering what happened to that ghoul. Anyway,
Future
that is
threats from
Alvin's
Rocco.
+1. In
Gotta make me
any
kill
case,
my buddy.
let's go on to Ashley. Ashley, what did Ashley learn tonight?
Ashley learned that her sire had a bit of a rebellious streak back in his day. Did not expect that one.
Fair enough. That will be your +1. Olivia, what did Olivia learn tonight?
Yeah, she learned where to do bike races and that the Thunderdogs need a change in that damn dog fighting.
I was wondering if you were gonna go beat him up over that.
Oh yeah, I'm actually thinking about that.
Olivia starts taking points in domain just to take over the Thunderdog's place, become the boss, and just remove dogfighting from the area.
Yep, the only problem might be from Anarch resistance in that area. But, yeah. Pius, what did Pius learn tonight?
Oh, geez. So he learned that you can, well, in time, he can, I guess, further tune himself into the Shadowlands with
You mean enter
practice.
the Shadowlands?
Yeah, enter the Shadowlands with more practice. That whole doorway Beetlejuice thing blew his mind.
Yep. That would be, I believe, the 4 or 5 dot power of the Ash Path.
Okay. Yeah, he's every time he's with Lynette, he's just enthralled with the things that she can do.
Reasonable enough. Well, everyone, that's 3 for everyone. Now it's time for MVP. In reverse order, Pius MVP.
God, this is mainly like a fifth filler thing.
Hey, it was fun filler. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It was like that episode of anime that's is filler, but was actually decent filler. Or that was what I was aiming for.
I'm gonna go with Olivia. Just due to just I just enjoy that character. I'm just giving it to her because she's like my favorite character.
Playing favorites? Oh no.
I am, and I'm not
All
gonna
right, Kettle.
shy away.
Right. Well, speaking of Olivia, MVP.
That's gonna be a hard one because I liked all 3 scenes that played.
Technically, it was 6 that you weren't in.
Holy shit.
I do see the struggle because it was a lot of everyone being in their own independent thing, and so MVP normally is in like regards to
Yeah, it
contributions.
wasn't really like a full like objective like obtained. It was more like just information gathered.
Which story did you enjoy the most? I guess is the question.
Oh, fuck, man.
That wasn't yours.
Um, I think I'm gonna go with Pius on that one because now he has another buddy.
Fair enough. Pious for the very first interlude. Nice. Ashley, who was Ashley's MVP?
Um, Mine was Pius for his second adventure into the Shadowlands.
All right. That leaves Zeno. Zeno, who was your MVP? Which part of spectating did you enjoy the most?
Hmm. I can continued to be amused by Pius's little interactions with Lynette because it's been dropped so many times that she's got the answer for Ashley's Spectre problem. And he just continues to just like, oh,
I mean, I only
googly
dropped
eyes.
it like another 3 times tonight alone.
Uh-huh. I'm catching all of these too. I know what's going on.
It is the joke that's never
She
going to
literally
end.
went on about eating race while for sustenance while she was in the Shadowlands.
You know the funny thing about that though, the real funny thing, Lynette's supposed to be a secret, so even if she did come
Uh-huh.
up to like eat Ashley's wraith, that would mean that Pius broke the promise to keep her a secret.
Uh-huh.
Or he would have to go about it in a way that didn't let anyone know, like I don't know, kept y'all distracted or something.
Well, no, it's the she has to be present. That's a security risk.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have to bring it up to her, which she's probably not going to be kosher with.
Or rather, she would just ask if Donaldson was okay with it, because he's the host.
I'm definitely keeping Lynette's privacy like a major benefactor as to why I haven't been mentioning her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also on the meta, Pius just needs more experience.
Yes.
Oh, he is a long way from being able to learn the things to deal with that.
You gotta understand, mortal or embraced, this is his first time like actually socializing, so he's new to this.
It's almost like he's infatuated, but it's an infatuation that's like never returned as an infatuation.
Yes.
That said, I did enjoy the little hints in each of the different scenes to things for the future. I do still think it would be absolutely for like hilarious for Olivia to just get so good at trick driving that she just could fucking like have like some sort of blade or weapon while she's driving on her bicycle just to fucking mess up anybody she wants.
Kind of reminds me of the bicycle jousting they do, like in the military overseas sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean like vampiric senses, her oracular abilities, like
She'll
just
want
some
to
of the
learn some celerity to
oh,
go with that.
I could teach it to her.
Hmm. Or yeah, you can. I'm kind of wondering when y'all are going to start like teaching disciplines to each other. Hmm. I figure it'll probably be once you've grown to a point in your native disciplines that you're looking to branch out.
I, I
I'm glad everyone enjoyed the session tonight. I hope it's a welcome back to our primary game
Mm-hmm.
and getting on with the plot there.
yeah,
Yep.
it'll be
I haven't put this much effort into a vampire session since session 1, and I think it paid off.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. We're gonna get to have Ashley and Olivia spilling the tea to each other. I'm gonna have Pius, probably dipping into some some weird stuff. Then the mission to find Comstock will be on the horizon.
Yep, come stalk the presumable bat.
Yes.
And I hope that I'm not doing Olivia a disservice by seeking out a possible mentorship for her so long as she's interested.
Yep. Well, first and foremost, before we get to next session, I would like everyone to go ahead and put in 3 willpower points back on their sheets because it has been 3 in-game nights before you wake up. When you wake up on the next session, I will give you another one back. It's for the 4th night.
Would we
But for
be
right now,
able,
just for bookkeeping's sake, go ahead and add 3.
would we be able to say that in this time we've been able to hunt and max out our blood
Oh
pool?
yeah, I'm not dropping blood. Did you hear me ask you to remove blood points? No, I did not.
No, but
I'm
I
assuming
mean
y'all are.
raised from where we were is what I'm mostly
I
putting.
will allow you to set yourselves up as high as 1 less than your maximum.
Okay.
So after you rise tomorrow, you'll be down by 2, but that's presumably better than you're currently looking at. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Just figuring out where I need to put that.
Well, you are 8th generation, I believe, yes?
No, I got it. Just making sure I'm like, topping off
Mhm.
before we just jump into a combat kind of thing.
Yeah, well, next session we'll do awakenings, presumable preparations, and a phone call from the sheriff.
Sounds
I was
good.
expecting us to get a little farther tonight, but I got long-winded, so that's on me. Of course, I also enjoyed it thoroughly, so don't expect me to be apologizing too much.
I got so much experience to freaking use now.
Oh, right. That overall, back to experience, that's +3 for everyone, and plus an extra 1 for Pius. Let me go ahead and put that into the chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and edit it right now just to make sure everyone's on the up and up.
Let me see. Boop. What it is. So 10/12/2024.
Ba-doom.
Oh, bye, stuff.
She eepy. I got
I hope
10
she's all right.
experience to use. Yay.
Well, I too am going to hop off, so you'll have a good night.
I'll see you later.
See ya.
Yep. Good night.